Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sassuti, along with the Dark Wing, Brian Daly.
What's going on?
And the Broken One, Rob Povia.
You know, there's only one thing I hate more than lying, and that's skim milk, which is water that's lying about being milk. Name that quote.
I couldn't, but it's a good one.
Oh, you have to do it right now. Let's start the show.
We'll see if the fam out there can name it as well. That's the real poll question. No. Oh, and we are the Hockey Happy Hour, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal, the man himself, running it out of Cherry Hill, Burlington, and Princeton, New Jersey. Listen, man, every now and again, life is going to throw you some BS that you're not ready for. At the end of the day, the best thing for you to do is for you to get it taken care of, whether it's a physical ailment, whether it is a mental problem or what have you, or you're just stressing. Go to Specialized Physical Therapy. Let them take care of you because they'll get the job done. Like I said, Burlington, Princeton, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and you can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal, he'll take care of you. And today, gentlemen, we will be previewing the Pacific Division. We'll be heading into Brian's turf in the Western Conference. And we will also be talking about the reverse retro jerseys, as well as some crazy CBA issues that have come up recently in the NHL. And the poll question is tied to the retro reverse. The Flyers reverse retro jerseys are the best. Agree or disagree? That is up to you, ladies and gentlemen, whether or not that is true or it is not. And, as for us, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I wouldn't necessarily call it the best, honestly. Yeah.
I couldn't disagree with this anymore. If you put the worst, then it would be an absolute agree because I've been trashing this for weeks. It looks like candy corn from Halloween, so that's why I busted out an old Halloween shirt tonight, little skull across some bones, because that's what it looks like. And what I'm most pissed about, Maddie, is that the Flyers missed a golden opportunity to bring back one of my more favorite, modern but yet still retro to the 90s, and that's the all-black jerseys. Wouldn't you have rather seen that? I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a little shield of black on the arms. Big deal. But I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently with them playing on the ice. You got to see it in motion, too. You know what I mean? But would you wear it or would you not wear it, Maddie?
No, I'd burn it. I don't like that jersey. Like, it looks Bush League to me. It looks like that's what you would see from a team in a league called the Uptown Flyers or something that rent out the freaking Voorhees Skate Center and play in the league over there. Like, it really looks like that. So no, I'm not a big fan of the Flyers retro reverse jerseys. But what's up, Chris?
A lot of these what's up, Chris? A lot of these jerseys fit that mold though of exactly what you just described for the Flyers. So we'll run through them. Let's do it.
Oh,
I'll tell you what. After seeing all 32, it is. I was a little harsh on the jersey, to be completely honest with you. It is definitely not the worst. There's one team. There's a couple teams out there that are way worse. After seeing it in a couple different positions, I guess it's grown on me. I would definitely wear it. I would get an old school name on it, and I would rock it. Because, like I said, after seeing all 32, it's really not that bad. Maybe a couple little tweaks here and there, like Rob said. Maybe do the whole black on the chest and stomach, and then maybe make the sleeves a different color. But you gotta do something about the white cuffs. That's it. Yeah. To me, that's the only real issue is the white cuffs. Get rid of that.
And we got Andy chiming in. Have a phenomenal show, gents. Thank you, Ritz. You can catch Ritz on In This Very Ring on Saturdays. And he does hop on to Lazy Booking on Tuesday nights as well. Misty Wilson saying, I'm happy with my Stars retro jersey, and we'll talk about that as we get into the retro reverses moving forward.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I got a little bone to pick with that jersey, but it's not bad. I like the scheme of it. I like this overall scheme.
Gotcha. So let's see here. We got Frank Vespi chiming in. Hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. To answer the poll, it's not one of the best, but not the worst. It screams paint by numbers in jersey design. Okay. And Jake Friel chiming in. What's up, boys? I'm going to disagree to the poll. Me, personally, the Arizona Coyotes is my favorite, and we will talk about that. Trust me. And there we have it. So that's what we got so far on the comments. Keep them rolling in, fam, and we will keep highlighting you guys here tonight. All right. So
I'll tell you what, it's nice to be able to comment in back with everybody.
yes, it certainly is.
I did switch my setup, so now I got switch my get up a little bit.
So, gentlemen, what do you want to do to start it off? Do you want to do some news and notes, or do you want to do the retro reverse? What do you want to do first?
I want to dive into the. Like, oh yeah, let's do it.
So jerseys.
Well, what were you thinking, Rob?
I say we go right into the jerseys because I get it. There's a lot of big CBA talk, and we'll get to that because that's a really hot topic that we want to get the fans' opinion on, see what the league's trying to do there. But I just want to honor some of these jerseys because the coolest thing for me was seeing, or we will be seeing in this upcoming season when it may fall, is being able to see the old Hartford Whale jerseys and the Nordique jerseys again for Carolina and Colorado, respectively. That's going to be really cool. That's going to be really cool.
Nice. We got Tom Arnone chiming in. My boys, 2 shows at once. Love it. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, there is another show going on right now on A2D right at this very moment. That would be Birds of a Feather. So you can check them out.
That means we just stepped in and took over Periscope. It was just like, nope. Time to talk about hockey. Sorry, Bird fans.
Oh.
I mean, there's not really much to talk about.
No. I mean, hell, it doesn't matter what fandom you follow in that division. It's really just a season to forget for the most part. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take a look at these jerseys and let's go down the line. And I'm going to play a little game, and everybody's welcome to join in. And basically, it is wear it or burn it. Simple. You either want to wear it or you want to burn it. So let's find out which one it falls into. So we'll start off. For me, let's kick it off with the Golden Knights. I'm burning that jersey. I don't like it. I don't like the red. To me, I don't feel like that team should have that as their main color. The green's fine. The yellow is okay. It's kind of pushing it. For the white, it's okay. Those being the 2 regular colors that they have for away and home. But that red just, no. I'm not feeling. It's like when the Pirates had those red jerseys for a little while. That made no sense to me. I'm like, why the fuck are the Pirates wearing red? It's black and yellow. Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense.
Maddie, normally I hear you with the red jerseys, and there's several ones. Like the St. Louis Blues went with the red jersey with their old school insignia that I'm not too keen on, although a lot of people out there across the nation are saying that's one of the best. I think that one's one of the worst. That'll be one I'll burn. But with the Golden Knights, I like the color red that they did utilize, and that insignia is just fucking balls out with the 2 swords and the compass in the middle. And I always like jerseys with sort of like the angular 45-degree angle stripes. It's actually one of my favorite ones. Not top 2 that I have. I have 2 faves over there, but I definitely had them in my fire category. But that means I'm not going to burn it, though. I'd wear it.
I'd wear it too. I mean, it's not terrible. It looks more like a ECHL type jersey, but it's not terrible. Like Rob said, I like the red that they use. What really caught my eye was the logo they used for it, which is, I believe, the shoulder patch logo. I mean, it's not a bad looking jersey. But I would consider wearing it, depending on who the player is on the back of it.
Yeah, I got you. Misty Wilson saying, I don't like the white half sleeves because it looks like you're wearing a long sleeve white shirt under a jersey. That's a good point. You don't, yeah, that does look Bush League. You don't like that. Let's see. Frank's 5 best. This is what he's got. He's got the Devils, the Panthers, the Oilers, the Blackhawks, and the Hurricanes. Those are his favorites.
Nah, man, Devils, man, is pure trash, dude. There was a reason that y'all did away with the green. You know what I mean? Like, they use too much green in that new one. I'm normally a fan of the green, but not this time.
Oh, I love them. I love 4 out of the 5. The one I didn't like was the Oilers. I thought it was just kind of bluff.
Yeah, so let's see here. We got Joe. What's up, Joe? Saying, have a good show. 1, not playing the Pens this year is kind of corny. And 2, Flyers reverse retros are ugly as hell. So I think he would disagree with the poll, to say the least. Yeah, and not playing the Penguins during the regular season, that does blow. Because, you want to be able to beat them and rub it in their face that you're a better team. Any chance you get, but oh well. Can't get everything you want. Moving on.
Well, that's not official yet.
No?
Nope. Nothing's set in stone right now.
Yeah, I mean, they talked to, I saw 2 proposals for realignment. I didn't think anything was set in stone. One showing Philadelphia in a tough Division B, and all this doing the COVID and reduce the traveling over the course of the season. But being in a division with Tampa Bay, Florida, Carolina, Nashville, Dallas, and Washington, which is far tougher of a division than where the Pens would be with the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Boston Bruins, Buffalo Sabres, and Columbus Blue Jackets and Detroit Red Wings. So, the one proposal that I looked at that had the all-Canadian division has the Flyers in with the Penguins and the Rangers and all your typical that. So hopefully that's the one that works out, because you want to maintain rivalries, or else then people are going to talk about how that's a suspect season. I don't want to talk about that no more.
Yeah. The last thing you want is more asterisks. I mean, it's going to be one anyway, just because of the pandemic and it being shortened, but you don't want to put more on it, But let's see here. What else we got? We got Priz saying, won't give a shout out to Pope for sending me a beautiful Vladimir Guerrero card. I didn't have, and for trying to book a flight all the way up there.
For all you card collectors out there, make sure you check out our new show, HD's Card Knocks, what's today? Thursday, every Wednesday, I believe it's 7 or 7:30. So definitely check them out. Good stuff from those guys.
Yeah, I've been watching all the new shows this week. We got some great new programming. After Dark was a great show.
Oh, the ladies are awesome.
Yeah, big time. Bringing the knowledge, bringing the entertainment. The epic fails on in the internet. Fabulous segment. Shout out Tori Lindsay. It's Tori Lindsay and who's the third girl?
Ariana.
Yeah. Shout out to you girls. Great new show. Check it out. Monday nights, correct?
Tuesday.
All the days blend into me, so I don't know when I watched it.
Same. So Tuesday night, I believe.
Tuesday night.
Third time.
Right.
All right. So let's see here. Before we continue forward with some of these comments, let's dive into these other jerseys here. Next one we got, for me, the Red Wings. Burn it. Do not like the Red Wings jerseys.
Burn it. What? It's literally nothing.
No, it's just a white background with the Red Wings logo. And it's like, your original jerseys have been that way for so long that you're not going to get much change with it anyway. But it's just, the least you could have done was do a little something. You didn't have to do too much. A little something would have gone a long way here.
Oh, but my friend, in honor of Don Don, they do have a little gray strip across the elbow and on the bottom.
Okay.
The old-time hockey right there with that. But they are kind of handicapped. There's not much they can do because the jersey itself hasn't changed much over the years. The insignia is a little different. It's a little bit more streamlined and less more, width than width and length. I don't know. Dimensions, not me. But yeah, I would definitely burn it too. Sorry, Don.
Though I think what they could have done, they did have a period of time way back in the day when the logo was reverse colored, where white was the main and red was sort of the background on it. Could have done something with that and probably could have changed a few things around there. You might have gotten a better reception, but not with this. It's not really all that good. Okay, so on to Pittsburgh. Burn it. I hate those stupid ass piss yellow gold
Love it.
colors. I hate
Love
those
it.
colors.
I absolutely love it. When I first got into hockey, that was one of the first jerseys that I actually owned because it was a hand-me-down from, I think my older brother got it from somebody else. I don't know. It was a hand-me-down jersey. It was one of my first ones. I love it. It's a nod to the 90s when hockey was hockey. And I just love the Pittsburgh going down the chest. That's probably one of my favorite aspects about it.
Yeah, I would never wear it, so I'm not selecting that. But I wouldn't burn it either. I am a fan of the team name going down. That's like old school hockey club HC level. I could, but again, though, to Maddie's point with the Red Wings, they could have did a little more with it too. It is kind of bland, other than the chest insignia. I mean, they got some 45-degree angle yellow stripes going down, black end, cuffs of it. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's sort of like if I had to develop a third category, it'd be my meh.
I mean, that's exactly what it like. It's the ode to the old black jersey that they had that had the Pittsburgh going down the chest, the old school style, which is kind of what I like about it because brings me back to when I first started really watching hockey.
Here's the thing, like those jerseys were good back in the day, and it would have been crazy, but what if they had done all yellow with black lettering going down? I think that would have actually been done a little bit more for me personally. I thought that would have looked pretty cool, in my opinion, but that's just me. Now
I love the way they presented it too, putting the jersey on Super Mario in front of his trophy case. I thought that was pretty sweet. It's an epic way to release that jersey.
I actually like the yellow lettering with the black shadow. It makes it look like varsity jersey level. Like the letters kind of pop more. I don't know if they would pop if it was reversed.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, currently I'm watching the Minnesota Penn State collegiate hockey game, and that's kind of similar to what Pittsburgh did. It's like they got that old school look to it. They use different. Yeah, I guess you could say different lettering or a different color scheme on the lettering just to have it pop a little bit more. And I like that. I think it's a sharp jersey.
So we got Shota Vincent Ishizawa saying Colorado and Minnesota. Those are his favorite.
Bring back the Nordiques. Yeah.
And Joe saying the Nordiques and Blues reverse retro are nice, though.
I'm not a big fan of the Blues. I like the Nordiques, but I'm in the rare company right there. A lot of people like the Blues one. I'm not me so much. The Minnesota one's nice, but to me, I don't know. Like they use a little too much yellow in it, in my opinion. If they cut down a little bit, I would have liked that a little better.
So let me see here. So we got St. Louis next up on here, and for me, burn it. I was not a big fan of that look for them, and I think Rob, you're in the same category with me on that one because you're just like, no, that's not a good look for the Blues in terms of the main red. Bri, what about you? What did you think about the Blues jersey?
I liked it. I thought it worked well together. I didn't think it was too overdone. I like that they went back to the 90s look.
That was fine, yeah.
But I mean, there's only so much you could do. I mean, you're not going to make that jersey yellow. You already did the blue. The red kind of helps the yellow pop a little bit, and I don't know. I like it. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it's not. I'm looking at it again. It's not terrible, but I don't know. Like it for me, it's just it's the example that Maddie talked about before with the Vegas Knights, where it's like too much red. You know what I mean? But I get it. Yeah, they already did the all blue jersey that that's been done there. But growing up watching hockey, that's why I identified as the St. Louis Blues logo and theme.
True,
absolutely.
Let's see. Frank says he's got his 5 worst, and that is Canucks, no gradients, Flames. I hate that horse. I hate that fucking horse. Islanders should have done fish sticks. Red Wings looks like a practice jersey. Sabres, butter knives, and goat head go together like orange juice and mint toothpaste.
Freshly squeezed.
I do like Buffalo's jersey though. It's sharp. I like the. I mean, I liked them when they originally did it with the red, gray, and black. So I mean, I guess that's kind of why I like it. But I like it better with the new colors, not so much the old style, but it looks good. I was kind of hoping they were going to do the buffalo head, but at least it's on the shoulder.
Frank also said the Knights were going for that ECHL look to pay tribute to the Las Vegas Thunder of the IHL back in the day. So that definitely lends credence to what Brian was saying on the ECHL look. So let's see here. Oh, and he has a special message for you, and that is Xmas sweaters, Rob. So
I do love those. I do.
Hi, Eileen.
For the Devils jersey, is that what it is? Ugly sweater jersey, because that's what it is. Yeah.
And I'm doing fine, Eileen. Hopefully you are as well. Now, let's see here. Moving on to our next one, and the Coyotes, where I love that old style of the Coyotes jerseys. And the original version of that was black, not blue. But to be honest with you, what can I say? It's a very 90s jersey, so it's got a thumbs up in my book. That's a clear as day 90s look right there for the Coyotes.
They should have stuck with the black. If they had stuck with the black, I'd give it a thumbs up, but I don't like the color scheme.
For me, there's just too much going on, like in the bottom area with like the desert landscape. Like I get that, but that would have been better served as like a patch on the shoulder or something.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't understand the I guess it's a gecko on the shoulder. I mean, maybe purple's supposed to be the sunset or whatever it is, but yeah, I'd burn it. Or I'd stick it out in the desert. Just throw it in the desert. Yeah, that sounds like a better idea.
Just like the NHL did with the franchise itself. But let's see. Misty Wilson saying, I watch many of these late shows, even though all my teams are here in Dallas with me. Well, hey, thank you for tuning in. We very much appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now, let's see here. Next up on the list, we have Dallas. I'm going to piss Misty off. I am not a fan of it. I'm burning it. And the reason why? Because they don't have the green where the star cuts off at the bottom. If they had kept that, I would have been fine with it like it did back in the day. But because they added white down there, I thought that just kills the look for me. That's what made the Stars jersey so cool back in the day, was the green that was always there at the bottom of their jerseys with the yellow trim to make out the star. You know, I always thought they had such cool, unique looking jerseys. But I don't really like the fact they took that green away. That kills it for me, honestly. I get it, though. They're taking out the yellow because that's not in their color scheme anymore. But still, it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, it's a little bland.
It is, right?
I
like the insignia, though. I like the insignia, though. Like, that takes me back. Like, that was, like, the first logo of Dallas after they moved from Minnesota, you know?
Absolutely. And I love this. I love the jersey design itself. I think it's great. Brings you back to a better state of Dallas Stars hockey.
Yeah.
But the colors just they missed on the colors. Other than that, I think it's good.
Oh yeah.
Change up the color scheme a little bit, and you got yourselves a winner.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think if they had it where there's like that jagged line that's green and black and then more white, if they, like to Maddie's point, if they had that all green and the green was kind of making the white of the jersey appear to be the star, the bigger star with the little, the smaller star being in the logo. This might be an example of a jersey that once you see it in action, once you see like, our boy Miro rocking it, maybe maybe we think a little differently. Yeah, but for right now, it's math for me.
Joe's gonna go take a look at the. He's gonna go take a look at the jerseys. Come back with his top 5. And Eileen was saying, says, "Love my Flyers jersey with knee-high socks."
Pardon me for a second. I'll be back in 5 to 6 minutes.
Okay. And also Prism just throwing
I
out a
thought
little
I was
love
fast.
and he's well played, Brian. Well played. Prism saying, giving a little love to the Red Wings out there with a nice little, nice little one-fingered salute, as always appreciated by everybody. And Eileen saying she bleeds orange and black. We do as well, and Brian does. It's just a different orange and black.
Never used to be orange and black. It used to be what is it? Eggplant and teal.
Used to be, yes, but then they changed it to the other colors. But anyway,
All the same.
and DB, no, we have not gone over the Kings jersey yet. We'll get to them. We will get to them. So let's take a look here. Let's see. Islanders. I actually like it.
Nope.
To me, I'd wear it, honestly. I think it's just a simple, straightforward look for them. To me, I don't see anything out of the ordinary.
It's not retro.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's not, but you know what? At the same time, they could have done something really bad and bring the fishermen back, and I'm really happy they didn't do that.
Well, what's the difference between the retro jersey and the current jersey they have now?
That's a good point. Except lighter colors. That's it. Yeah.
The actual jersey's lighter colors than what they're showing as a retro. Throw the freaking fishermen on there. Throw an old logo on there. Something. Change it up. I wouldn't burn it, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'd wear it.
Gotcha.
It's just not a retro look to me.
And Eileen saying, "Pick can eat me." Loathe Crosby. Yeah, we agree. And let's see here. And Frank said, Penn's jersey. I hate the team, like the look. So he's in the ballpark of liking the jersey, but hating the team.
Well, I don't know if you guys were talking real quick. I don't know if you guys were talking about the Flames jersey. That's what brought up another comment from Frank saying the horse on the Flames jersey has two names: Blasty or Flaming Snot Horse. Hashtag the more you know. The Flames jersey is actually one of my two faves. I freaking love the Calgary Flames jersey with the, looking like half horse, half dragon and the fire coming out. What are your boys' take on the Calgary Flames? I definitely wear that.
I would wear
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, I always actually I liked the old look that the Flames had back in the early 2000s and coming out of the 90s when they had that look going on for them, where they had that sort of rebrand with the stallion and the flames coming out and everything. I thought that's not a bad look. I don't know if that logo would have lasted very long because I think the flame, you can't get past it. That's too classic. But the look in the jersey itself is, to me, it's really good. I like it.
I love it. I like the old school. I think that's actually what it's supposed to be, is a dragon. I love it. I always like that logo. Maybe not necessarily on the jersey, but I think they did a good job creating this one, designing this one, putting the color scheme together. This is definitely in one of my top 5 jerseys. Love it. I would definitely wear it. I'd put Ginla's name on the back. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Hell
yeah. I always liked a lot of the Flames jerseys. I never thought the Flames really had bad jerseys, for the most part. I always thought they had really solid, kits for the longest time.
And the dragon has the red beady eyes, too, going in on a face-off on that. That's pretty intimidating. I like it.
And let's see here. Next up on the list of retro jerseys, Washington. And I'd wear it, because they brought back the old logo. They got the Capitals written down with the diagonal. I always liked that look. The colors is an intriguing take on it. Should they have done blue? Did they do the right thing by keeping it red, because that is their usual primary color? Personally, for me, though, I just think they did a really good, respectable job by bringing back that kind of old-style jersey that they had from back in the 90s, keeping it in their color scheme, honestly. So I didn't mind it. And actually, to be honest with you, when they went back to the old writing out of Capitals, I wasn't a huge fan when they did it. I thought, why didn't they just keep the eagle? The eagle just always looked cool to me, honestly.
Love the current, hate the retro.
All right.
Combining two worlds. No. Nope.
Interesting. I'd actually wear it, surprisingly enough. I didn't think I would say that on the show looking at it first, but looking at it again, throwing it back to that era of Washington Capitals and the fierce rivalry with our beloved Philadelphia Flyers. it's nice. It's patriotic. I like the stars on the wings of the eagle too. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'd wear it.
All right then.
Barely.
Barely.
Nyleen's
I'll
saying
just put
I
my
am.
head through the neck hole. That's it.
Well, you won't be able to see my face.
Put one arm in the sleeve. That's all I'm wearing.
Nyleen's saying I am perplexed. What the fuck is Gritty supposed to be?
No
Distant cousin to Cousin It. That's what he is. He's like Cousin It's like distant brother he doesn't invite to family reunions.
Some say Gritty's based loosely on Jakub Voracek's one night going out with Jeff Carter and Mike Richards and like having a little nose candy, and that's what he looked like. Some say.
It's probably what he acted like as well.
I would say that that's based off of See, to me, I would have argued that maybe it's a story about Jeff Carter and Mike Richards getting really too high and thinking Jake looked like that, but they weren't on the team when Jake was on the team. So it's like, damn it, I can't even do that.
I was suspending reality for that joke to work.
That's all right. It works. I prefer reality to be suspended. Who the fuck likes reality? Anyway.
Hey,
reality's not bad.
See, DB saying Minnesota looks like a jersey a worker at a Subway would wear, but the design is cool. All right, so let's throw that one out there. The Minnesota Wild. What you boys think about that one?
Love it.
All right, we gotta love it.
The ties to the North Stars with the Minnesota look. I love it.
That commenter was spot on. That's exactly. It's like eat fresh. You just look at it, and I. It's like I see freaking Howard going, "Eat fresh, eat fresh, eat fresh." But like I said before, looking at it again, it doesn't overutilize the yellow. I don't know. It's just the green. You know what it is? The green isn't dark enough. It's maybe that's how it was. You guys can correct me on that. But I think it would pull it off. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I would burn it. I don't think I would wear it.
For me, I actually would wear it, and you know why? I get a bit of a NCAA vibe, not just a throwback to the North Stars, but you know how like the Golden Gophers in Minnesota, they've got that interesting color scheme that they apply to their hockey jerseys. I kind of get the vibe from the Minnesota Wild like that. Not as necessarily the North Stars, but I like what they were trying to do. I like the numbering on the back. I liked the way that the Wild logo didn't look all that bad to me. I mean, I do get the Subway comment though; it is pretty funny. But I liked it.
On.
Yeah, I would wear it. I would wear it though. So yeah, I'm fine with that one. So let's see here. What has Joe got on his top 5? So honorable mention is the Penguins. 5 is the Oilers. 4 is the Blues. 3 is the Sabres, 2 is the Whalers, 1 is the Nordiques, which would obviously be the Colorado Avalanche. So, let's see here. With that in mind, why don't we talk about it? Colorado Avalanche, the Nordiques jerseys. What did you guys think of them?
Love it.
Absolute. Yep.
It's my number 1.
Number 1, really? Wow. Okay. I mean, I dig it. I definitely dig it. It's in my fire category, that's for sure. Or even up and above that, or whatever. Especially with the what is that? The Fleur de l'Or, or what do you call that? The Saints utilize it in the NFL.
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, no, yep.
Yeah, and that several of those like ring down around the base of the jersey. That's pretty cool. And yeah, obviously both with Hartford and Nordiques, like throwing back to that, it's just it's awesome.
Oh, I hate to be that guy, but burn it. I didn't like it. Oh. Why? One reason. They kept the color scheme of the Colorado Avalanche. They shouldn't have done that. That's the only reason why I hate it. Okay. They should have went back to. They didn't see the Whalers jersey have the fucking Hurricanes colors, so that would really look out of place. But for the Nordiques, I feel if you're gonna do it, bring back the old color scheme. If you're gonna do it, bring it back. You don't have to do the blue, you can do the white, and you can just change the logo color around if you want to do a reverse. But I was not a fan of that decision to make the color scheme with the Colorado Avalanche. It took me out of it, honestly.
Love it. I mean, it's the same thing that Minnesota did with their jersey. They took the nod to the North Stars.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they didn't
put
wear
the old colors on the New Jersey.
But they didn't wear the North Stars logo and have the same jersey as the North Stars did back in the day. So that doesn't bother me nearly as much as when you put on the actual jersey. It's an actual replica of that jersey, and you change the color scheme. It just bothered me.
Well, then there's another jersey down the road that I think you're not going to like either. There's probably a couple.
Maybe. Okay, so let's see here. Next up. Boston, burn it. Fuck the Bruins. Anything they do, they can go suck a dick. Fuck them.
Ditto. Next.
Bry.
Change to yellow, which I kind of understand. You only got 3 colors, but if it wasn't yellow, I'd dig it.
So, yep, not on that. Cool. So we hate the Bruins all around on that one. Good. Love it. Okay. Blue Jackets.
Love it. I think the color scheme works well with the logo. I love it.
I'm with you. I like the old logo with the red. I actually dig it. So I'd wear
it. I don't know what the hell's going on with that insignia. Like, I got this as pure trash. I do not like it at all. I wouldn't wear it.
That's the original logo.
Yeah, I never like. There's the reason why they changed it. And I get it. You got to do the retro, and that's what you're basing it on or whatnot. But I'm just not a fan. For some reason, right when I was scrolling through, NHL like tweeted out all of them. That was the one that I was just like, nah, I'm not digging that one at all. I don't know.
I saying, other than my beloved Flyers, I do like the Canes jerseys. Throwing back to the Whalers there. Let's see, Prism saying I like the Avs and the Blackhawks best. And Frank saying you guys should ask Chris Pronger about the Blues jerseys.
I'm gonna have to.
He'd love it. He'd wear it. He did.
Let's see here. So next up, Ottawa. I like it. It's not a complete replica of what they had back in the day, but I don't mind it, honestly. I've never really minded the Ottawa jerseys for the most part. I always thought they had a cool one. This one is obviously a play off of their all-black one they had back in the day. But I don't mind it.
I mean, they're going back to – go ahead, Robbie.
No, it's cool, man. I was hoping you were going to go.
No, I gotta have a delay, or somebody has a delay or something. But anyway, no, it's kind of like it's not really necessarily like the retro look. It's like they're gonna make it their third jersey when because they're going back to those uniforms this year allegedly. So they're going back to the 2D Senator with that look. It does nothing for me.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say before was kind of like meh. I mean, another one of these jerseys that went with all red look, and albeit a more crimson red, which I kind of dig, to match like the top hat of the Senator on the logo. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't burn it. Like, it's kind of cool, but it's meh.
Love the logo, though. Love the logo.
Yeah.
The jersey's trash.
The jersey, the logo was classic, though. Joe saying Coyote Purple is ugly as hell. DB coming in with his top 5. He is going with Hurricanes 5, Sabres 4, Avs 3, Coyotes 2, Kings 1. I think DB might be a little biased, though, on that Kings 1. Just a little bit.
What up, DB?
Okay, so let's talk
Can't wait
about
for
it
that
then.
Freeway face-off, boy. Let's go.
So let's see here. Let's do it. The Kings. I absolutely love this jersey. I would 110% wear it. I like the look. I think the old logo fits it shockingly. But you know what they did? They made it white instead of the silver that they had for a long time. So I think it works out perfectly fine with the Kings.
No,
Yeah.
it's
There was that long pause, dude. It's like, okay, you're gonna go, I'm gonna go. You're gonna go, I'm gonna go. It was fucking
I was purposely
priceless.
waiting for Rob, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna let me go.
That was
Every
fucking
time.
beautiful.
Every time.
Well done.
You gotta admit our timing is perfect. Like we're in simpatico. You know what I mean?
Always.
Yes. Well, I'll jump in real quick. It goes with the Lakers, and the old school Kings look. I definitely like it too. It reminds me, sort of, even predating when Gretzky went to the Kings, but that era, I'm a big fan because the middle logo kind of looks like a Chevy bow tie. That's why I'm the biggest part of it for me.
Love it.
As a Ducks fan, I love the logo. I've always loved that logo. I thought it's always been my favorite of all the Kings logos. The crown just kind of and I love the fact that they went back to the 60s. I believe it's the 67, 68 color scheme. I love it. It's awesome. It's probably my number 3.
I really quick, going back to the Coyotes jersey, I got to read this one comment that I got from one of the groups. And the dude writes, the Coyotes jersey looks like something that you'd see a corporate guy go on a corporate retreat. It's like it does. It looks like a luau shirt.
No, absolutely.
Spot on.
Absolutely spot on. Love it.
All right, so Edmonton's burn it. Do not like this design at all.
I love Joe's comment here. Joe says Kings should go in the trash with the Coyotes. Nah, I disagree with that, but it's still funny.
Yeah, Edmonton, don't know what they were thinking here. Fucking stupid look. All right, let's see here. Buffaloes. Now, I was on the huge fence here for a while on this one because I was thinking, I remember when they had these jerseys, and I remember when it was black, red, and silver, and I kept going back and forth on it. Okay, not okay. Okay, not okay. And then they had the Buffalo slug on the shoulder. Finally, I decided, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to have to say it's not bad. I got to give it a pass. It's one of the few good things Buffalo has done in this last decade is that jersey, actually. So, yeah, I begrudgingly will say wear it.
I'm all for it.
I like it. I love the swords, the logo in the middle, and I love the color scheme. Unlike the Capitals jersey and a few other ones, I wouldn't have had Buffalo written in the bottom blue. I would have had that solid. That's the only discrepancy I have with it. But otherwise, it's a pretty dope jersey.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
Now, I do believe back in the day they had Sabres written across there as well. Did they? Or was that
just
another?
Buffalo?
It was just Buffalo? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've had black, red, and silver in Buffalo. And Misty Wells saying it definitely could be better, but I'm happy with it. I probably wouldn't buy it. Prefer the Winter Classic or the black/glowing green out of the non-regular jersey. Obviously talking about the Stars jersey earlier.
No, I absolutely love what they did. It's, what was it, the 2005 Sabres jersey all over again with the current color scheme? They knocked it out of the park with that one.
So let's see here. Next up, Toronto Maple Leafs. This one I went back and forth on too. And, I thought okay at first because I thought they were trying to pull it back to what they had back in the 70s and in the early 80s. But then I thought, why the leaf is blue and the numbers are blue, and that threw me off. So I'm going to go burn it for that reason alone.
Burn it. They should have chosen the one of their more original logos.
Pure trash.
All right, so let's see. Vancouver. Wear it. I love it. I actually like the jersey. It's odd, but you know what? I'm thinking about when that jersey came out, and I actually remember that era very fondly in the NHL, so it's a harken back to that time for me. So I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, outside
No.
Nope.
And Robbie was shaking his head earlier, so he's definitely not in the no category on that one.
No. I was shaking my head because of the fine ass model that's wearing this Vancouver jersey. And I was like, ooh, damn. Nah, this is the Canucks jersey is on my fire list, dude. I definitely like that. I love the color scheme. It uses that example of what I was talking about with the Stars, where you have that true two-tone jersey with the blue going through the center and the green on the shoulders and then the green below. That, you know, the Stars jersey could have used to more highlight that bigger star on that jersey. And the old school Canuck jersey, man, you know, you're thinking going back for me, going back to like 1994. Man, you know, seeing Pavel Bure streak down the sideline.
Back in the day.
Me and my brother were talking about this jersey, and I loved it at first, but then he brought up a great point. But here's the thing. That jersey that you were talking about from 1994, Pavel Bure skating down the line, Robbie, that's their third jersey right now. So maybe if you take that color scheme, or that jersey itself, maybe swap the logo to the old Canucks on the skate slashing down. All right, I could see that, but
Damien from Down Under. What's up, Damien? What's going on, man?
it's our brother from down under.
And Damien Price saying, great show, guys. Go Ducks. And he also said this as well. Can't wait to get the Ducks jersey. My wife will kill me. So with that, we might as well talk about it. The elephant in the room, the Anaheim Ducks retro reverse jersey. Good old Wild Wing bursting through the ice. And I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. Wear it. I'm going to fucking do it. I don't care. Wear it all the way.
No, I'm 100% with you, Maddie. Unlike the Coyotes jersey, there's not too much going on, just not enough. But seeing the duck, like the superhero duck, crashing through the ice, it's just, yeah, it is. It's so like 1960s, you know, bringing it back to an era like well before Anaheim Ducks or Mighty Ducks was ever an inkling in the NHL. So it ties many different eras in. You still got the elements of the movie, Disney. Even the Curse of C for demonstrating this version I'm looking at, demonstrating the captain is just spot on. To me, this is my favorite of all the retro jerseys, including the Flames, which I'm pretty big high on. The two of them are my top two, but I'd have to give it to. I figured I'd make B Dales happy.
What's funny is I hate them. They're trash. I would burn it. I was never a fan of the Wild Wing jerseys. It just never made any sense. It's not necessarily retro, and I agree with Joseph Horakowski here. It's the color scheme's cool. I think if they did that color scheme in the jersey design with the actual Mighty Ducks logo, I would totally completely be on board. But I nope, trash them, burn them, blow them up, do whatever you got to do. Just get them.
Kill it with fire. Fast.
Get rid of them.
All you motherfucking DuckTales haters, man. It just takes you right back to DuckTales, yo. Come on
DuckTales.
Now. I know you do. I guess.
Speaking of, sorry, you just made me really excited. I just saw Greg's comment. Animaniacs at midnight tonight is on Hulu. New cartoon, new series.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Interesting.
I'm excited. So we know what I'm doing as soon as we jump off here. I'm watching the first episode.
And Frank was saying it's like that meme. It's like that Office meme. They're the same picture. And he's saying regarding the Islanders jersey.
Yeah, true. There is that. That's maybe the most unoriginal of all the retros in my book. You know, I don't know. Like for me, I think it was between the Blackhawks and the Islanders that were just kind of like, you know, more trash than wear, you know. Because I mean, it's just they're just nothing special about them.
No, there's really not.
Yeah, so Jake, just to give you an update, we did talk about the Flyers retro. I'm burning it, honestly. I'm not a fan of it.
I'll wear it.
Pure trash. I was never a fan of candy corn.
Ricky215 saying, "Sup, boys? Was watching the guys talking football. Forgot all about y'all. Oh, it's okay, man. It's all right. We're here. We're here, though. That's all that matters. Thanks for joining us."
I did say earlier, Jake, that maybe the Flyers jersey in action, some of these jerseys we could feel totally different when we see them in action. You might, I could sense a Povia flip flop. What were you gonna say, Brian?
I totally forget. Greg,
my bad,
commented, and I kind of lost track of what I was talking.
What is it? Is it this comment right here?
No, he's a little further down.
Okay.
You said you would wear it. You said you would wear it though. You're a fan of the Flyers retro.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely wear it. It's growing on me a lot.
Yes, Greg. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Greg knows what he's talking about. He's got it. So let's see here. Next up on the retro list, we've got Nashville. Burn it. Did not like the way this jersey looked at all.
Love it.
The reason why I didn't like it, they don't have the silver on the sleeve. If you're going to go retro, you got to have the color. And they didn't have it. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. Took their color scheme and put it on their old jersey. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'd wear it. I mean, I probably wouldn't wear it, so I'm just not a fan of like mustard yellow. I never have, never will. But it's not trash. It's meh.
I like it. I like it a lot better than the current jerseys they have now.
Yeah, good point.
So let's see here what we got next on the reverse retro. Sharks, wear it. I like the look. I've never hated a Sharks jersey. I've always thought they had really cool jerseys, all the way down from when they started. Just for whatever reason, they can't win a cup to save their sorry asses, but whoever runs the jersey department could win a championship every year for jersey design.
Trash it just because it's a Sharks jersey.
That's what I figured on moral principle. Yeah.
I like it. It's a sharp-looking jersey, but I'll still trash it.
What's funny is CBS Sports gave it an F, and it was the lowest grading of all of their reviews of the reverse retro jerseys. And to me, this is one of my favorites, man. Absolute fire. I love, I always was a big fan of the shark biting through the hockey stick. I love the diagonal lines of both turquoise, white, and black going, and then just having gray as the base, the actual color of shark skin. To me, this is one of my this is a top 5 for me.
True. And you know what the cool part is of those kind of jerseys? They kind of remind you of the old Flyers ones back in the day. With the sleeve coming down and it's cut off at the sleeve. Yeah, it looks very, very eerily similar to it. So I've always loved those kind of jerseys.
I mean, it's a sharp-looking jersey. I think they did a great job with it. I just got to do it on principle.
Gotcha. Let's see. Florida, burn it.
Love it.
Happy that they brought the old Panther logo back. I just don't like the fact that blue's the main color. I didn't buy that for me, so burn it.
I love it.
I think it's good because I can see Scott Mellenby rocking it. You know what I mean? Currently, right now, you know what I mean? Because that's what it is. It's a pure throwback. It's very close to what they wore in that era, and that logo was always cool. Yeah, I'd probably wear it.
Oh, I absolutely would. You would definitely see Mellenby, Jovanovski, Van Beesbrook, Rob Niedermeyer. Those guys would definitely rock that jersey.
You lost me at Niedermeyer.
But
it was Rob Niedermeyer, not Scott.
It was Robbie.
So it wasn't as bad.
Wasn't as bad.
He was better in Florida than he was in Anaheim, but I still love Robbie.
Let's see here. So Tampa Bay's burn it.
I'm
I
cool with
didn't.
it.
I didn't like it only because they brought the old logo back, which is cool and all. But what I don't like is they have, again, it's their color scheme that they applied to the old jersey. I thought they need to have the black in there with the old jersey, with the old logo. I feel like without it, it just takes away from it. So I wasn't a big fan of that.
I would burn it unless it was a Damon Langkow Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. Then I would wear it.
Not a Simone Gagne?
Oh no, maybe Simone too. Oh no, of course Simone. But I was thinking of what was were they wearing this jersey? No, they weren't wearing the jersey at that point. But...
No, they had that cartoon-looking version of it by the time Gagne got there.
Right. Definitely. But yeah, no. We know I love Simone.
Oh yeah. So let's see here. Next, Winnipeg. This one's an interesting one.
I like it.
I'm on the wear it side, believe it or not.
That's actually one of the ones I thought you wouldn't wear because it is the current colors with the old logo.
Here's the thing, though. For me, I think it works. For whatever reason, it actually works.
Yeah, you made a great point with the Nordique / Abs jersey before. When you said about using the modern colors, I didn't chime in before. I let that sink in and marinate a little bit. It definitely lowered it on the cool. I would have preferred, going the old school, much like the Whalers. And maybe again in this case with Winnipeg, I actually had this in my Fire jersey because I love that charcoal gray as the base. The arms are cool with just like the long stripes going down the sleeve, and I'm just a big fan of that straight up 70s, bum chicka bomb straight out freaking Winnipeg Jets logo. But yeah, again, I think it lowers points that they didn't use the original colors. It's a good point, Bri.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The design for me didn't do it. The color scheme worked fine. I just don't like the design.
Let's see here. Jersey, burn it. Burn it in the fires of hell where the devils came from.
Yeah, I'd rep it. You'd rep it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you would. Because like the horizontal stripes aren't bad, but there's people. There's a reason that Devils fans did away with the green, and I get it that you're trying to go retro to back to your past, but I don't know. Brian's a fan, Frank's a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm burning it. I'm burning it with Maddie. Let's just sift through the ashes of the Devils.
Plus, also, let's be honest here. They only had, 2 good seasons with those jerseys on?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm all about them. I love those. And I love that they have the opposite as their, I think it's road alternate, or it's just their alternate in general. I've always loved the Christmas jerseys for the Devils.
I see your point there. I just hope that they're in futility or lack of futility, or the futility that they showed when they originally wore the green jerseys. It's kind of concurrent with today's version of the Devils. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
It definitely concurs because they suck.
Yeah. Well, that's a simpler way to put it.
And let's see here. We got Carolina next with the Whalers jerseys. Wear it. Gotta love the old classic Whalers jerseys back in the day. Doesn't matter what era, whether it's the lighter green era from back in the 80s into the 90s, and in the 90s when they had the more muted colors. It doesn't really matter because the Whalers had good jerseys, no matter what era you look back on.
I'm on the fence on it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that one.
Fuck yeah, man. This is definitely top 5 for me. Bringing it back to the whale. You kidding me? Absolutely. And the original jersey that Prism's best friend forever, Chris Pronger. Chris might want to comment about that story on a separate note. But, just throwing it back to the first jersey that Chris Pronger ever wore, right? How could not be a fan of the Hartford Whalers jersey? I definitely would especially because this is one of the jerseys that you can legitimately rock and be like, I'm not cheating on my sports team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Considering that team's no longer around.
Yeah.
All right, so on to final three here, and they're all original six. How fitting. So we've got Chicago. Burn it. I did not like this jersey.
Love it. It's my number 2.
I'm not a real big fan of Chicago's old look, in all honesty, and this just ties right into that. I don't like the old logo with the really badly drawn Indian head. I like the logo now. I think the logo now is way better, but I'm just not a fan of the Blackhawks jersey scheme really in general. So this goes into it. Burn it.
Love it.
Nah, I can't do it. I can't. I mean, the logo is kind of cool in terms of the circular pattern of it, but I don't know. I mean, it depends on what your stance is. I'm not going to go too deep into it or whatnot, but I thought we were done highlighting Native Americans in our sports logos. Like, when is that going to end? I'll just leave it at that.
All right, then. And now we roll on to the New York Rangers. Now, I've burned most of our rivals here, but I'm going to have to do this begrudgingly. Wear it. I think it's a very cool looking jersey. I hate the fact that I got to say it, but that logo with the Statue of Liberty, I actually always liked that logo. I always thought it was a really cool logo for the New York Rangers. And they really only rocked that during the 90s when they had Gretzky on the team and Messier and the rest of them. So it's interesting to see them bring that back. So, yeah, I think it's a cool jersey.
There's not a whole lot going on. I love the Lady Liberty logo, but there's not a whole lot going on with the jersey. I'd burn it.
Right. Other than that, it's just those little red and white stripes at the elbow, again, similar to another one of the other jerseys we reviewed as well. I am a fan of that logo. I mean, how can you not be? You know, Statue of Liberty is just a sign, you know, kind of similar to, you know, what we saw with the Capitals jersey. You know, I would never wear it, you know, let me just say that. But you know, if I had to, like on a bet, that would be the version of the Rangers jersey I would want to wear, because we absolutely dominated the New York Rangers when they wore that jersey. So I guess wear it, kind of.
But I will say,
fun fact.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
It's very misleading for the Rangers to have Lady Liberty, considering the Statue of Liberty is on the Jersey side of the island.
Oh, we're going to get into that argument. Oh, boy.
Just saying.
There's an old argument to be bringing up. You bring some people.
Does the Statue of Liberty belong to New Jersey or New York? A little biased. I'm going to say, go to New Jersey.
Well, that's funny, man. You talk about regional rivalries between not just North and South Jersey. The fact of the Statue of Liberty, does it belong to Jersey or does it belong to New York? That's a fierce rivalry right there.
Jersey, let's go.
I'm still waiting for it to be either the Jersey Giants or the Jersey Jets or both. What the hell?
I thought it. I didn't want to bring it up.
All right, let's see here. So the final one to finish this one off fittingly, the Montreal Canadiens. Wear it. I actually like the look. I really like the blue being the main color. You don't get to see that very often with the Habs, because obviously red's the main color, but it is neat. And you know what the funny part is? It's a shame that it's blue, because they'll never use it as an away jersey, but wouldn't it be neat if the regular classic jersey was their home jersey and the away was the blue? That would be a cool little scheme that they would have going on there.
They used to do that jersey scheme with one of their logos. I believe it was the original logo with the blue jersey was the Canadian C that they have now. I believe it was an A in the middle.
Okay.
I'll have to double check that.
Yeah. You're right. That it was white and it had blue on the stripe and red on the trim, and that was their away jersey. But that was like way back in like the 30s. 40s. It was way back in the day when they did that.
A, not H. They have an A.
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a time where they had an A instead of an H for some reason.
The Canadian Athletic Club.
But yes, so that's the retro reverse jerseys. So this is my tally here. I have 15 jerseys I want to burn and 16 jerseys to wear. So, wear one by just one. By just one, the NHL was successful here. It was going to be uneven anyway, but still.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd wear most of them. I would definitely say more than half. I can't give you the actual number that I lost track. Definitely more wears than burns.
So let me just take a quick little gander here at some of these last-minute comments before we move on. Prism saying, honestly, about the jerseys, I've only hated a few in history. And his are the 1980s Canucks jerseys and all Detroit jerseys. So not a fan of that. And he also says the Stars horse-faced logo as well. Oh, yes.
The
back
Taurus?
in the
Yeah,
day,
that was horrible.
Yeah. I don't know what the Stars were thinking there with that one. That was
The
interesting.
constellations.
I get it, but it didn't translate well.
Oh.
You all right, Brian?
Yeah, my spine just went all the way up and cracked. It felt great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Specialized physical therapy.
I feel nice and loose now.
And Joe's saying, of all our rivals, Boston, Pittsburgh, New York, both Rangers and Islanders, the Devils, Buffalo, Washington, Toronto, the Penguins have the best reverse retros. So he's
Agreed.
rolling with Pittsburgh.
Agreed, Joe, for sure.
And let's see here. And Prove tried to make sure I was still fighting shape by booking a fight between me and a mailman. Small note, my dad works for the post office. Oh, wow. That is funny.
I don't get what the issue is. All right, so a little backstory here. So Priz was nice enough to send me a little card collection. Appreciate it. Big fan of the show. And, I wanted to, give him a thank you letter. I appreciated that fan mail and give him a little insight into where I'm coming from for my life. And I wanted to kind of return the favor slightly and give him his favorite player of all times card. This one little most wanted card I had from Upper Deck, I believe. And, so I sent it to him and I addressed it to him as, his name, then AKA Prism 280, and then I wrote AKA Pronger's BF, right? And apparently the mailman was busting his balls like, oh, you're Chris Pronger's boyfriend, right? And I'm just questioning what kind of grown ass man sees BF and reads that as boyfriend, like.
Oh my God,
like,
that shit was.
And Priz was saying no, you would put BFF, and I'm like, no, dude, that's best friends forever. Albeit, still on the girlish side there, but best friends tag team from AEW on their initials, it's BF. Best friends.
I agree with Prism. You should have went BFF instead of just BF.
Oh, really?
Because not a lot of people are going to put best friends together when they see BF. When they see BF, it's going to be boyfriend.
I'm not gonna lie. I usually would think that too, because when my friends text, sometimes they'll say GF and that means girlfriend. So yeah.
It's all good. It's a great story.
But
funny, right?
So Prism and Pronger have stepped up. They are now no longer just best friends. They are now boyfriends. So congratulations,
I would not let
guys.
that rumor spread. Listen, if that rumor spreads and he comes after me, I'm sending him to you.
Oh, no, push off.
Because me and Chris still talk from time to time on Instagram. So.
Oh, it's okay. Relax. It's just a little joke.
I'm just saying. I'm gonna send him right to you if he comes after me.
Oh,
who are you talking about? Me being his boyfriend.
Oh, I'm sure he would find it hilarious. It's just a funny little tale. Anyway, moving on.
Hilarious when he's cross-checking you in your jaw.
We'll blame it on Pav and move on.
All right, so with that was the retro reverse. And before we dive into our Pacific Division preview, just quick congratulations before we move on from that to Brett Peterson, first African American assistant GM in NHL history, hired by the Florida Panthers. Congratulations, sir, on breaking boundaries and breaking barriers. Congratulations.
Well done. Well deserved. And if we're going to do
right.
that, might as well give a little shout out to Kim Ming, who is the new GM of the Miami Marlins. First Asian female to hold a general manager position in Major League Baseball. So tip of the hat to her.
Congratulations to her.
Nothing but the best.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it, if you're qualified, you deserve a shot.
And Don found that story with Pronger and Priz hilarious. So
great. I loved it.
All right. So now that we've done that, we gotten our congratulations out of the way. Time for what the show's title says. We'll get to the CBA talk in a minute, but we need to roll on to the main topic here, and that is the Pacific Division. And it is going to be intriguing because on a passing glance, one would look at it and say, oh, okay, this is an easy division for the Vegas Golden Knights. But we're going to dive in and say, is it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's find out. So I will start things off here with the Los Angeles Kings. And very straightforward run-of-the-mill rundown of their season here. They didn't make the postseason, but that's really not a shock. They barely managed to. They were 1 point ahead of finishing last place, so woo. And basically, the main thing for them is just rebuilding. That's pretty much what their goal is just to continue to rebuild. You know, they hired Todd McClellan as the coach. They had issues scoring. Had an amazing draft, though, getting Quentin Byfield, which is obviously going to be the face of the Los Angeles Kings moving forward. They shedded off a lot of pieces. They traded Tyler Toffoli to Vancouver, Jake Muzzin, Martinez, Forbett. All are gone, mostly just to get draft picks, which is the smart thing to do. And, you know, it's just one of those where that's pretty much what they're going to be doing this year. It's just rebuilding. So it's not really like maybe they do a little something here and there, but they're not really going to compete this year, you know? So, but they're moving along. They're going into the direction of rebuilding as a franchise. So
they got a few good young pieces with Quentin Byfield. And I think he needs to be your centerpiece. You need to put pieces around him and start building for the future. Keep Anze Kopitar as long as you can. I think the Kings will be competitive in the next 3 years or so. They do have some good pieces in place. I think they have a good head coach. A couple pieces here and there. Yeah. I mean, you need to figure out life after Jonathan Quick.
Yes, they do need to do that.
I think you need to figure out some defensive pieces because Drew Doughty's starting to – I don't want to say he's starting to get up there, but he's going to I believe he's starting the second half of his career. Got to figure out these pieces and how to replace these guys, and I think the Kings will be fine. But like I said, Byfield's going to be he's your centerpiece. You need to build around him. I think he's Anze Kopitar 2.0. So
yeah. Now, DB wants to know, do you think Byfield comes up at any point this year? And, you know,
I don't think so. He's a little young. I think he's 19.
Yeah, he's young.
At 19. I think he'll spend another year in juniors, another year or two in juniors, and then he'll. Then I think he could probably make the jump.
Plus, they may not want to risk it anyway with the way that the season's going this year. They may not want to risk him possibly coming in and being, you know, possibly getting sick or what have you. They may just want to say, hey, it's okay. We'll have you continue playing in junior hockey and move from there. So, which is fine. You know, I don't want to rush anybody. And who knows? Byfield may very well. I mean, look at it this way. We traded up to get Travis Konechny, and he only spent 1 year in the minors. So, there you go. He may very well... You know?
It's very rare that you see a 19-year-old make a team out of training camp.
True.
So I think that's the only thing that's going to keep him. I think he's up by 2021. Age, not year. He's going to be a stud. And I hate that I'm going to have to face him about 6 times a year.
Yeah. That's going to make the Pacific Division very interesting once the Kings have put all their pieces together. And Chrome saying the Flyers retro sweaters are amazing. I am sorry, my man. I am not with you on that one. I actually would burn that jersey. It looks Bush League to me.
Like them. I love them.
So let's see here. A couple of things that I do want to point out, though, is young pieces that they have. Tobias Bornfoot, Callie Klug, or Kale Klug, and Michael Anderson, and Alex Iafallo. They may be some good young players moving forward for the Los Angeles Kings as they continue to rebuild towards the future here. And DB wants to know if someone scored in the background. Yes, me. The train rolled by my neighborhood. I live right near the railroad tracks. But anyway.
That's a good one. I don't think anybody said that one before. I like it.
That is a good one. But let's see here. So that's pretty much that. Like you said, they are going to need to find a replacement for Johnny Quick. That's definitely got to be nailed down moving forward. And I think if they start to take a look at what they've got goaltender-wise, maybe look at the draft possibly if there's any, goaltender prospects that may possibly have some ability moving forward, they're going to have to start taking a long look at the goaltending and say, okay, this is who we're going to go with once Quick is, once we're ready to move on from him. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Kings. Not much to talk about except it's another one of those, years where they're rebuilding towards it. And DB saying future top line for the Kings will be Byfield, Turcotte, and Velarde. Definitely very, very important right there and very solid players. The Kings, they've got some young pieces there and, they're moving in the right direction. Baby steps towards becoming a tough team again in the Pacific Division.
They'll be there. Like I said, you gotta worry about a couple pieces here and there as far as age goes, and you might be able to make a little run with Johnny Quick at some point if you can build fast enough. I mean, we'll see what happens, but they're on the up and up. They've got some really good young talent. That top line that DB was talking about, there's going to be a dangerous line. They're 3 very, very talented players. Not sure when we're going to see any of them. I think we see Byfield before anybody, but yeah, I'm on board.
Roska's asking that Ryan Getzlaf will not be traded.
Yes, he will. He'll be traded by the deadline. I guarantee you that.
All right, so that's the Los Angeles Kings. Next up, we might as well roll on over to Mr. Robbie Povia on over there. What you got for me?
Let me just fire off this comment real quick.
Sure.
And I'll start off with, I got labeled with some of the lower brow teams, but there's quite a few in the Pacific Division. So I was interested to get into some of these teams, specifically the Arizona Coyotes, who, last season did have a pretty successful season overall, being 4 games over 500 at 33, 29, and 8, good for 74 points in the 71 games played that they were able to play before the pandemic, which earned them a number 11 seed in the playoffs. And they continued that momentum to beat number 6 Nashville 3-1 in the qualifying round, but then, lost to a juggernaut in the number 2 Colorado Avalanche 4-1. Definitely a team that, relied upon the scoring or may often lack thereof at times of Taylor Hall, who's no longer here, now in Buffalo Sabres uniform, wearing those cool retros that we looked at before, signing a 1-year, $8 million deal. And, one thing I want to talk to you boys about that, put this little thumbtack in the back of your mind for the Sabres with this signing. Do you think it's playoffs or bust for the Sabres? You know what? Let me just ask you that right now. Do you think it's playoffs or bust for the Sabres?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be. I mean, they got to do something. At this point, they have to.
I think if they don't make the playoffs this year, you might see Jack Eichel demanding a trade.
Right. Just blow it up.
Too much talent. They have too much talent on that roster, and I just don't understand how they can't put it together.
And to be fair, Jack Eichel would be completely in the right to demand a trade if they can't still make the postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be fair. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Taylor Hall to score for the Buffalo Sabres. Is my point there? They, will be searching for more scoring, through free agency that I'll get to in just a minute. But the man that will be heading this search will be Bill Armstrong, who takes over in his first year as Coyotes GM after helping build the 2019 Stanley Cup champion Blues as assistant general manager. I read a cool quote from him. He said, we have a very good core group of young, talented players and a passionate fan base. I'm excited about our future and the opportunity to build this team into a perennial playoff contender. So he's bringing aspirations, trying to, maximize on the forward momentum that the Arizona Coyotes have been building with our old friend Rick Tocchet, now going into his fourth year as head coach for the Coyotes. And 2 years ago, he brought on Phil Housley, who's been a real asset. I think that's been, in terms of, what you've seen is players on the Coyotes, not typically of the defensive-minded nature, taking care of their defensive responsibilities.
Yeah, DB, he doesn't really. He wants the Yotes just to be moved to Quebec at this point.
Well, Bill Armstrong speaks highly of a passionate fan base out there. I'll take his word for it. Maybe they're not ready to see the Coyotes go, but I think there should be hockey in Quebec. That is for certain. Guys that have been standout stars. You look no further than their captain, OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's been team captain since 2018-19. Been with the Coyotes his whole professional career. He'll still have Phil Kessel assisting him, Derek Stepan, and Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Guys that have been assets and have played well for this team. But it's good. What's going to be really key here is just the progression of their young players. A standout player like Connor Garland, Clayton Keller. Both lifelong Coyotes. They're going to need to really take that next step, along with a pretty young center iceman and Nick Schmaltz, who they acquired in the Dylan Strome trade with the Blackhawks. I'm very high on that guy. I think he's a future star. He's dominant. He always is tops in faceoff percentage. And I think once he continues to build his overall game, he'll be an asset out there in the desert, along with younger players like Jakub Chikrin and Christian Dvorak, who, they got a good group of young core guys there in the desert, boys.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to bring up Christian Dvorak because the kid's going to be a stud. He just needs to take the step in the right direction. He's a future second-line center for that organization. Arizona's taking the steps to draft good talent.
No doubt about it, man. Had a career high in goals in 18 and points for 38 in his 4-year career. So he's definitely, the needle's pointing up on Dvorak, that's for certain. And what's going to help him is bringing in some key offseason additions in old friend Tyler Pitlick. We've seen how valuable he can be as a bottom six guy and really increase the depth on your hockey team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame that we didn't sign him back. It kind of sucks, but oh well.
Yeah. Our loss will be the Coyotes game, along with Johan Larsson, who they got from Buffalo. Good left winger. He can play left wing. He can play center. Not high on the goal scoring department, but he's another good guy, depth guy. You know what I mean? And that's what they needed to build around. You got some of your young stars that can man your top six, who are guys that are going to bring that energy, allow you to hold on and maintain leads. Larson's a guy that's defensively responsible. That'll help him out with that. We talked about a key offseason loss in Taylor Hall. Also you saw Brad Richardson go. He where he went to. You guys know?
Oh, we just talked about it last week. One of the Central teams.
Bring it up real quick. Oh yeah, Nashville. Right.
Yep.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Oh, ironically, I brought that up. I should have remembered that. But being that I had Nashville Predators on there. But the point is that they've gotten younger though, with these additions by subtraction, so to speak. But what's going to be key is signing pending free agents Carl Soderberg, Mikhail Grabner, Christian Fischer. Actually, no, they signed Christian Fischer just the other day to a 2-year, $2 million contract. So that it's really, it's going to set up for a good team. I mean, they run a good offensive system, sort of like with puck movement at speed, kind of a hybrid system. What it sets up for, shots can essentially come from anywhere, and it's increasingly becoming a standard in the NHL. It's less restrictive. It highlights players' creativity. OEL, he thrives in the system. It's so much better for him than former head coach Dave Tippett's more defensive style. So I think it sets up for both him and some of these younger stars. But in the end, boys, the key questions I have for the Coyotes are, one, where will the scoring come from? Are these guys going to take the next step? Because you're losing, Tara Hall's production from this lineup. Can they provide more support in front of goalie Darcy Kemper, who over the past 2 years combined set a 229 goals against average, which is second in the NHL behind Ben Bishop of the Stars at 223. So he's played good goaltending. Don't leave him out to dry. Make sure that you maintain that defensive responsibility that they saw under Dave Tippett while still running that, puck movement at speed hybrid system. And finally, who will take the next step, like I said, from the young core? Garland, Keller, Chikrin, Dvorak, who I think me and Brian would agree that might be the most likely candidate there now.
I'm hoping. There's, like I said, there's some talent in that organization, like the Buffalo Sabres. Some reason can't seem to put it together. The name that you said that really intrigues me, and I absolutely think he needs to take the next step, is Clayton Keller.
Yeah.
He's a future 30, maybe 40 goal scorer for multiple seasons on end. They got a solid defense there, and most of them are still relatively young. I think OEL is only 27 years old, so he's still relatively young. But you have to be weary about him, otherwise, because over the offseason, he said that before the draft or before free agency, he wanted to be traded. So you got to be weary of that. So you got to be sure that you're going to get the OEL that you got in the past, and not he's just going to go out there and just be out there. You know what I mean?
Right. It'll be key to get off to a hot start, a key start, because if the team starts slumping, then those trade requests or trade talks start mounting. And I mean, even if they did, go that route, they have a 20-year-old Barrett Hayton, who I think is sort of the dark horse hidden gem on this team. He's number 5 pick in the 2018 NHL draft. He scored 66 points, including 26 goals in 39 games for the Sault Ste. Marie of the Ontario Hockey League in 2018-19. And I think he could really provide an offensive spark, in lieu of or along with OEL. Bottom line, boys, Arizona is going to need positive answers to all 3 of these questions in order to return to the playoffs. And I think depending on the re-signing of Soderberg and others, my prediction for the team is I think they'll continue to hover around 500 and finish 5th in the Pacific, narrowly missing the playoffs. Sorry, Talk, and maybe that'll lead to OEL out of town, but it's just going to be very competitive. We talked about last week, how many good teams can come out of the Central Division trying to fight. I think they will fight for a wild card, but maybe miss out just based on the youth. But man, if they get that, those guys taking the next step and continuing and even heightening the scoring production they saw in 2019-20, they got a shot.
Absolutely. And one thing that you didn't mention that I think is huge. You said that the system relies on speed for the Arizona Coyotes, and I completely agree. The loss of Vinny Hinostroza hurts that team because he was fast and he could create offense, and he created problems for goaltending and defenders just off his speed alone. And losing him is huge for the Arizona Coyotes. That's a lot of speed that's gone. And then Michael Grabner was actually bought out of his contract with Arizona, so he's probably not going to go back unless he signs something cheaper.
He has been falling off in later years. I mean, I thought he'd be a key guy that you'd want to, in terms of scoring ability, but I don't hate that. He's older, so.
No, absolutely. I'm just, based off of the system that they run off of speed, that's two big pieces that you lost. Because Grabner is still arguably the fastest guy in the NHL. So.
All right. So that is the Coyotes. And now, real quick here, Priz had something to say about the Kings. He said, let Byfield rep for a year in the minors, come up next year with a better idea of what to expect playing against fringe NHLers and top prospects like himself that he'll be facing for years.
Yeah, Vinny went to Florida. That's right, dude. That was a great point that you brought out. That is a loss for the Coyotes. And, yeah, I hear you, Priz. I hear you.
All right, then. So we now change gears and we head on over to the Darkwing, Brian Daly. Who we got?
Who do you think? Who do you think I'm covering first?
Oh, I thought you'd save them for last. Save the best for last. But go right ahead. Take your hometown Duckies.
Let's talk a little Anaheim here, since we already brought up the Kings. Might as well. Anaheim Ducks finished with a record of 23-39-9 last year. A little bit better than I thought, considering the roster and where they were with a couple big injuries and new head coach, new system. Played relatively well for the most part. Key additions for a rebuilding team. Big one is Kevin Shattenkirk, which was kind of out of left field. Wasn't expecting them to sign another defenseman. They are pretty stacked on D, and that's kind of where I thought they weren't going to go. I did love the Derek Grant trade or re-signing, bringing him back for his third trip with the team.
Really loves Anaheim.
This time signing a 3-year contract. Love it. Great, hardworking bottom six player, versatile, plays center, plays left wing. He'll get into all the dirty areas. He'll throw some physicality around. He'll get in people's faces. He's not going to back down from anybody. Love D. Grant. I thought he was a great asset for Anaheim. Earlier last year, before being traded to the Flyers, had a huge offensive outburst. I believe he had 15, 16 goals before he was traded. So that was awesome. Obviously missed him with the second half of the season. So a couple key pieces to the draft were added this year that I think is really going to help the team take the next step in the next 2 years. Just Jamie Drysdale, selected seventh overall. The best defenseman in the draft, in my opinion, and one of the best, if not the best, sniper in the draft, and Jacob Perreault, who was taken 27th overall in this past year's draft. Of the two guys, I think Drysdale might be the guy who winds up on the roster first. Would love to see Perreault get there sooner than later, but I don't see. Both guys signed entry-level contracts, so that's big thumbs up moving forward. So hopefully we can get those guys on the roster sooner than later. Drysdale maybe a year or two. I could see Perreault maybe 2 to 3, depending on how contracts and how the holes are working out for this Anaheim team. There's going to be a bunch of players competing for some roster spots. Obviously, we have some open up. These are the same guys that I think we're going to see that are going to need to take some steps forward too. Trevor Zagaris, I think, is a guy who's going to be competing for that spot. He's a good scorer. Has a lot of offensive creativity, good vision with the puck. He's a pretty good skater. Ben Giroux, I think, is going to be another guy who needs to step up. Highly touted guy. He thought he was going to be up by now. Benny needs to be a guy who takes the next step forward in training camp and show off his abilities a little bit, show that he's ready. Braden Tracy's another guy who I'm hearing is his name, that he might be ready to make the step. We'll love to see him. He was another top pick for Anaheim. And, I'm hearing a lot of good things about his college playing. And like Cam York for Michigan, he's a guy that's creating some havoc. So it's great to see. It's positive. On the defensive side, Axel Anderson, who was traded to Anaheim, I believe, in the David Kasha deal. He was one of their top two defensive prospects. Would love to see him up this year, but I don't think he will. Lack of spots, but would love to see him take the next step and maybe even wind up being one of those, seventh defenseman guys that gets called up towards the end of the year. So hopefully we see that. DB says, being a Kings fan, Trevor Zegras scares me. Going to be fun to watch Byfield versus Zegras. Whatever. I couldn't agree more, DB. Because I feel the same way about Byfield. He scares the crap out of me. He's Kopitar 2.0, like I was saying earlier. Love the dude. I very high on him in the draft. It's going to be fun to watch for sure. I can't wait. I can't wait for the freeway face-off to get back to that form it was just a few years ago. Guys who need to step up for Anaheim. Jakob Silfverberg really needs to step up and be that guy that they expected him to be when they traded Bobby Ryan. We've seen flashes. We haven't seen much consistency. He's shown he can be a 30-goal scorer. We'll love to see him continue that. And I know, playing with a lot of younger guys kind of doesn't help with that once in a while. But Silfverberg needs to take a step forward. Younger guys that need to step up and have better seasons. Isaac Lundestrom, you're going into your, I believe, his third year as a pro. I thought he's taken some good steps forward. We'd love to see him take the next step. Troy Terry is another guy who really needs to step up. He was a big, big name when they drafted him. They expected big things out of him. Yet to see much. So we'd like to see him develop a little bit more. Max Jones, Brendan Guhle, and Jason Mahara, all guys that need to take the steps forward. I don't see this team being far off. I mean, they're so relatively young. There's some good young prospects mixed in with some good vets with, obviously Cam Fowler being the guy to go to on the defensive side, Hampus Lindholm, Adam Henrique, Rico on the offensive side, Silfverberg, Raquel. And then you got Gibson and Net, who's only, I believe, 24, 25 years old. Still on the young side. He actually might even be a little bit older. I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. But Gibby's the guy. So got to have the defense play better in front. Offense needs to stop being the worst offensive team in the league. Find ways to score goals. Too much talent on this team for them to not be a top 10 team in offense. So steps forward this year. I could see the Ducks being a team that competes back in the Pacific Division in about 2 years, especially with the moves they made. Once Drysdale, Perreault, a couple other younger guys come up, start making impacts. This Anaheim team is going to be a very scary team moving forward. With a lot of young talent.
Isn't it scary that Adam Henrique is a vet? Wow, where does the time go? Where does the time go?
It's literally felt like yesterday. It's like I watched him score that freaking OT winner against the Rangers that sent the Devils to the Stanley Cup final back in 2012. Made me hate him even more. But,
Yeah, sure. He's still young. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
So, he's still young enough, though, to fit the mold of the youth movement that's going on in Anaheim. And you got to love that. You got to love that young energy, good, high-skilled players that, can come formulate together. And you mentioned one is a college player.
I believe. Before. Yeah, Braden Tracy. I believe he's a collegiate player.
You got to love the college players. They play so smart and it can make more of an impact right away, as we talked about earlier in the show. And how infatuated I was with Jakob Perreault and how that was a target I wanted for the Flyers. I think, he's got the lineage and he has the scoring ability, that when he develops is going to be a key asset for your Ducks.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, there's a ton of talent on this team. They just need to put it together.
All right. So
you need to see guys develop and take the next step. And the vets need to continue being who they are. Adam Henrique, 20 goal scorer. Raquel's got the potential to be 40. Silfverberg's 30. You've seen these guys do it before. They just got to get back to it.
All right.
Figure out what their offensive goals are.
we change gears, and now we head on over to a little bit further up north to the Great White North, and we go to the little city of Calgary, and we talk about the Calgary Flames. Last year, the Flames, not a great season by any stretch of the imagination, and the season before that had a very disappointing ending. This time around, they stunned everybody when they got out of the qualifiers because most people thought the Jets were going to win that series going into it, but they battered the Jets, and then they moved on to the next round. Tried to batter the Stars, but didn't work. But that was a wild series, though. I think, what was it, one game they had, it was looking like it was about to go to OT, and at the very last minute, either Dallas scored or Calgary scored, and the game was over because there was like 5 seconds left in the game. But after that wild series, Calgary, they bent the knee, they were out, and that was the end of it. So after a couple of, I guess you could call disappointing season endings and a disappointing season last year on top of it, where does Calgary stand right now, And so going through, Jeff Ward, obviously, he's now the full-time coach. He was brought in as interim after the controversy that led to their original coach having to resign, which, if he was abusive, then the NHL ain't going to miss him. And the big question mark that's been hurting them is Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. They had very pedestrian seasons last year, and while they had a little bit of something going on for them in the postseason, one question mark that I saw was Johnny's were not even strength. Most of it was on the special teams, but at the same time, too, it's like, well, yeah, you want him to score on even strength, too, but at least he's scoring. That's one thing you can say, at least. But Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau didn't exactly have stellar years last year, and they need to bounce back big time because they are two of the major players in that offense. And then, obviously, goaltending issues that they had really came back and almost pretty much could have cataclysmed them right out of it. But Cam Talbot showed a little something, not enough to get them very far, but he showed a little something. In the end, though, they didn't have a starter, and that was the big problem. So what did they do to solve that problem? Well, they just looked over at Vancouver and said, hey, that Markstrom guy, can we have him? And surprisingly, Vancouver said, yeah, you can have him. With our blessing, take him. And they signed him for 6 years. So that's interesting. Now, it is to note that there are a couple of prospects in the system that Calgary's looking at for goaltending-wise, but they're not ready yet. So they're looking for a stopgap in between, and Markstrom's the guy that they feel like can be that guy. So on top of that, though, one little laughable thing I'm going to note out there is Zach Ronaldo got signed by the Calgary Flames. I just wanted to say that because I saw that and I had to do a triple take when I saw that.
About Markstrom real quick, Maddie, I think he's going to take off in Calgary. I think I perceive him having a fantastic season, possible Vezina finalist, challenging season.
Absolutely. He's going to build off of that season he had in Vancouver.
Yeah. And
to your point.
Yep. And with Markstrom coming in as the starter, you also had one other big question that's really haunting them is defense. It's intriguing because the defense, they have players on the defense, but it's an intriguing situation for Calgary because it was a little shabby, just a little, in the regular season, and that ultimately hurt them in the long run. So they're in a spot where they got some flexibility back there. They're looking at some players and some players that they want, some players that they don't, some players that they think can handle it, some players that they think can't, some players that they're giving a test run to. So it's intriguing where Calgary's at. And my ultimate question is, does Calgary need to retool? That's the main question that I'm going to throw out there because it's like, interesting. So offensive-wise, you know who your leaders are. You know where your goaltending is. What about your defense? Do you need to take a step back and fix that before you're ready to really compete? Because we've seen them get hot and cold, and it kills them at the end of the day. Moving forward, though, key players to watch out for on this Calgary Flames team. Mikael Backlund, who can play well. Sam Bennett, who I like his game if he can get going. Sean Monahan, obviously. Johnny Hockey, of course. Those are obvious ones. will Milan Lucic do something? Because now, during the playoffs, he was a pain in the ass, which he normally is in the postseason. Can he be that way during the regular season in a good way for this team? I hope not, because he's a piece of shit. But still, at the end of the day, though, Milan Lucic is going to be an interesting one to look at, and he does get paid a high salary on top of it, which you can thank Peter Chiarelli for that one. Matthew Tkachuk, obviously, he was a big factor as well in the postseason. Like to see him continue being a strong checker, because that's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to intimidate teams out there, and he can score too. So that's another thing you want to keep your eyes open for Matthew Tkachuk. Rasmus Anderson, who I think could be a really good player. Mark Giordano, obviously, is a player that you definitely want to see get going. Travis Hamonic, who's been an intriguing player to watch over his time in Calgary. And then Noah Hannafin, young player with a lot of upside. You want to see if he's going to be able to reach that. Another interesting player to look at that they signed out of college is Connor McKee, or Mackey, who they signed out of college. So it's always intriguing to see when you get a college player and see if they're able to fit in to the NHL system. And then obviously Michael Stone, Juuso Velimaki, Alexander Yellison, and, of course, Jacob Markstrom. Those are key players I'm going to look at during this regular season. A lot of youth players that are down there towards the end that are going to be real interesting to see if they're taking the step in the next direction. And for the veteran players, will they be able to perform at a high level? And for the players who are currently in their prime, can they continue to either have a bounce-back year or have a very strong season moving forward? The question is Calgary going to be competitive in this Pacific Division, or do they need to retool because of the situation going on the back end? Or does Jacob Markstrom just nullify that altogether? So we now turn to the floor. What are you guys thinking on Calgary this year?
I think that with those additions, if they can certainly help bolster that back end, I think they could be competitive enough to challenge for the last wild card. And that's actually what I have them. I have them as a wild card team based on the addition of Markstrom. I think they've actually started this retooling process ahead of the curve with bringing in the youth, a good draft, and you could start to creep some of these guys into your lineup that you had just mentioned. I'm high on what they're putting on out there, and I'm really excited to see if they can build upon. Yes, during the regular season, their offense, especially some of their stars, and Johnny Gaudreau and Sam Bennett, were lackluster. But come playoff time, you saw them both take it up another level, and that's what Calgary fans have been dying to see for a while. Yeah. So if they can maintain that into this new season, and the likelihood of that is strong because there's less of a time off from when you last played hockey. If they get off to a hot start, excuse the pun, I think it could be good things up at the Saddle Dome.
No, absolutely. I'm high on this team this year, especially bringing in Jacob Markstrom. I think that's the one thing that really hurt him last year is having David Rittich, however the hell you say his last name, as your starter with Cam Talbot. I mean, do you guys know I'm not big on Cam Talbot? I thought he was a flash in the pan in New York. He's been nothing more than what you were saying about Markstrom, which I disagree with, being a stopgap. Markstrom is going to be the guy moving forward for Calgary, and I think it's a great move. I think it was a little stupid for Vancouver to let him just walk, but I'll get into that a little bit later as I got the Vancouver Canucks coming up next, not next, in a couple teams, but I don't know. This team isn't bad. I think they're going to get a full season under the new head coach. I think a training camp with the new head coach is really going to help. And yeah, just like you were saying, Maddie, there's a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of young talent on this team that they just need to put it together. I mean, we've seen the flashes, and I'm going to take one of Robbie's silly puns here and say if they can catch fire early, they will definitely be a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like with Markstrom, I could see what's going against Markstrom is his age. He's 30 years old, late bloomer, but much like Jacob deGrom has shown in baseball, sometimes some good things in development can happen after 30. And I think that will happen for sure. Go ahead, Matty.
I was going to say, and that's the only reason why I labeled the stopgap, because of his age. And because, while yes, he's riding high right now, can he keep that up into 36, 37? Can he keep doing that? Because we've seen goalies start to decline, and when it happens pretty bad. So that's my only concern. And like you were saying, Rob, it pretty much piggybacks off your point. That's the only thing going against Markstrom. If he winds up being one of the exceptions to the rule, though, it's one of those, okay, Markstrom, the rule of age is just a number. It does not apply to him.
Yeah, but I also think of stopgap as a guy on a rebuilding team, not a guy that you're going to bring in to take the next step to become a Stanley Cup contender.
Who has a lot of talent.
Guy.
Who has a lot of talent. Yeah, no doubt.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yet again, I'm on the fence between you two.
I mean, Brian Elliott's a stopgap. He was a stopgap for the Flyers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
absolutely.
the definition of a stopgap. So,
well, for me, it was more of a stopgap. For me, is when you're going to have a prospect ready to kind of take up that role. That to me, so it's just a different definition. That's really the only difference there. But anyway, I think we can all agree, though, that Markstrom can immediately make a great impact if he has a very strong season. The Flames won't really have many goaltending worries moving forward, and they have a real chance of the Pacific Division. Maybe they have a chance to sneak in on a wild card, maybe frustrate a team in the first round if they draw a team that can't handle them, especially if their offense is flying high and playing real well. They could be a tough team to deal with, a frustrating team.
Absolutely. This Flames team they're not far off, believe it or not. As much as they seem like they are, they're not. Yeah,
they've just been a victim, I think, of themselves, really. It's just a victim of, underplay, if anything, underachieving.
Well, it's like Rob said in the Facebook comments, Bill Peters is a scumbag.
Yeah. By the way,
riddance.
Tommy was trolling.
The worst part is I have 2 lights on right now, Tommy.
Oh. All right, so
we'll get the new device up and running for next show. It'll be spotless.
I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, I believe, baby. I believe.
I'm glad you do. I don't.
So, we switch on over to Mr. Broken One himself, Mr. Robbie Povia. And this will be who?
The San Jose Sharks, one of our favorite teams, Maddie. Our Flyers of the West, so to speak.
Pretty much.
But unfortunately, for the San Jose fans, they've been on the bottom barrel on the opposite end of the spectrum for where our Flyers have been, missing the playoffs this last season with a pretty paltry 29, 36, and 5 record, 63 points in 70 games played. But, they're looking to build upon, and the theme is bringing back. And for me, one of the biggest, I'm just going to go right to this. One of the biggest head scratchers about the San Jose Sharks was bringing back Patrick Marleau. I mean, he signs back from helping the Pens on their playoff run, but dude is.
I'm sorry, that was great. Oh, that was fucking perfect.
Thank you. But at 41 years young, this dude is just straight up old AF. I mean, not really sure what they're thinking here, especially since one of their key losses was letting Joe Thornton walk. Vespe's favorite player as he signs with the Toronto Maple Leafs, trying to win a cup. But so you thought, okay, well, maybe they'll go more on a youth movement and really highlight players like Tomas Hertl, Timo Meier, even Kevin LeBlanc, who they just re-signed, who's a good young and up-and-coming player for the San Jose Sharks, had 14 goals and 33 points last season in 70 games played, only his 4th year in the league, but definitely has a scoring touch from the right ring for the San Jose Sharks. But I mean, there's a lot of transition going on here with the San Jose Sharks, boys. I mean, that's what's going to happen from, a lowbrow season that you saw last year. And a guy that's seen every season of his general managing career is in his 18th year, believe it or not. Doug Wilson is leading the charge in terms of revamping this team. He started by bringing in Bob Bugner when he took over for the fired Peter DeBoer, and he's going to be going into his second year. The key thing about Bugner is, you might know, 15-year NHLer. Definitely has played this game, knows the game in and out. I think he's going to be a really good players coach, boys.
No, absolutely, and I pretty much you're spot on with your analysis of San Jose. They're another team that's got some good young players. Just got to figure out a way to plug in some rookies and some vets. And again, noodle scratcher on Patrick Marleau. I mean, I guess he wants to play one more year and retire as a Shark. If that's the case, great. I mean, not everybody's Jaromir Jagr, where he's 43, 44, still playing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, no, absolutely. I think they got some good pieces there already. And I think Bugner's going to be the type of coach that's going to get the best out of him, especially a guy like the names you mentioned, Timo Meyer, LeBanc. There's a couple others that are blanking. Probably get Marty Jones back up to where he was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, potentially in that, Matt Nieto they brought back. So apparently it's like a reunion tour this year for San Jose. He was originally drafted by San Jose in 2011.
Yeah, Nieto's a good player. He's a good player.
Yeah, that's a good bring back. I definitely value that. Speaking of goaltending, they're going to be minus Aaron Dell, who we know here in Philadelphia as a goaltender we can never flip and beat. He's now in Toronto, so we might actually see more of him over there. But you're going to have Devin Dubnyk be the man, and can he be the man? That's going to be a big question for San Jose. If not, you do have Martin Jones, there as well that could take over the starting role. This team's too old. You're like too old, like Adam Sandler said. Brett Burns. You look at Brett Burns. I mean, been a great player, long-standing defenseman, 35 years old. Getting long in the tooth. Yeah.
Wow, he's 35 already?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh man, it's making me feel old.
Yeah. They brought in Erik Karlsson, trying to hold on to past years, successful runs. Or making the playoffs at least. He's 30 years of age, sort of in between there. Great guy to have for the power play, though. Obviously
Absolutely.
It'll be an asset there. Vander Kane, always, on the top of Povia's scumbag list, but 26 goals, he's still putting the biscuit in the basket. He's definitely a guy that can light up. But as we know, boys, very streaky player, very hot and cold. Sometimes he just absolutely disappears. Timo Meyer, as I mentioned before, is a quality player. He's been a lifelong Shark, along with Tomas Hertl and Captain Logan Couture. I think the pending free agent that they need to sign is Melke Karlsson.
Yeah, absolutely.
He contributes in a lot of different areas. He's not lighting up the score sheet, but he's a good quality center iceman, good on the face-off, good on the penalty kill, too. Other than that, they pretty much have most of their free agents locked up. They have a couple other scrubs there that they could, but
a couple of the scrubs.
Yeah. But I mean, Bugner, he first introduced this really high-tempo, aggressive system, which really keys off the long pass with two forwards up after taking the reins, but soon saw his aging team just floundering in that. So this season, he plans to implement a few changes in the way the Sharks play in all three zones. He's going to tailor his system to really best maximize the talent that he'll have available on the roster this year. He's really looking for a more structured system, kind of to mirror, the Dallas Stars. The success of Dallas Stars, another blue-collar team who made it to the finals, but the difference is a lot more talent on the Dallas Stars than you have on the San Jose Sharks.
I will say, though, the one thing about the Sharks are they can be a bit of a wild card here. And the reason why they can be is if they have a bounce-back year, where some of the veterans are playing like they did back in the day. Not exactly to a T where they're putting up career-high numbers, but well enough to where there's frustration and the young players are really playing well. The Sharks could be a frustrating team. They could be a team that probably could cause some issues in the wild card race, this year. Will they make a wild card? That's a best case scenario, at least in my opinion. I don't know where you got them falling in, Robbie, but that's the best case scenario. 9 times out of 10, I don't think they make it, though. That's my personal feeling of it, though.
No, I feel you, man. Some things can go right because, I mean, you got Logan Couture. If he can bounce back to former years, Brett Burns is a guy that, can score and help you from the blue line, along with Erik Karlsson. If you get all, you get like, an all-star year out of Vander Kane, yeah, maybe they could challenge. But as is right now, according to my assessment, I sadly have them finishing dead last in the Pacific Division. There's just not enough. Yeah, there's just not enough young blood, Matty. Old players and their contracts to deal with. So there's really less maneuverability on what you can do to help your team out over the course of the season or in the remainder of this offseason leading up to hopefully a January 1st start is being reported. Joe Thornton walking helps them. Losing that money helps them. But yet they brought back Marleau, and they just don't have enough exciting offensive talent outside of Couture, Hurdle, and Meyer. You're going to have to play tight defense, led by Erik Karlsson. But how much confidence do you have in Dubnyk or even Marty Jones? I just don't have much confidence. I don't have much confidence at all.
Very, very little.
Very little. I see another last place performance for this hapless Sharks team, as I said, with, good drafting as we saw this year. First time head coach Bugner could inject some new blood in the years to come. So, hopefully brighter days will be ahead to where the LA teams will be competing again.
No, I think the trade for Dubnyk is perfect for where they are right now. Platooning with Marty Jones.
Right.
It's his job to lose, to be completely honest with you. And I think you're gonna see this really come to blows and come training camp time, because both guys proven that they could be starters in the league.
Sure.
Devin Dubnyk, I think, was more of a flash in the pan than Marty Jones. I just don't think the defense in front of Jones is good.
Right.
You mentioned Brett Burns and Erik Karlsson, but after that, who do they have that is really wow? Marc-Andre Vlasic is okay. After him, I don't even know.
Well, you don't have Jonas Donskoy anymore.
No, he's in Colorado.
And you don't have Justin Braun because he's with us. And, so you did lose a lot.
This Sharks team is not anything special, and they're not going to be. Having Brett Burns and Erik Karlsson's contracts, it hurts.
Yeah,
I would throw in Couture's in there, but Couture is still young enough that he can still be an impactful player in this organization. And besides, he's wearing the C. It's very often the captains get traded.
Yeah.
So,
they really focused on, their forwards during this last draft too. Led by, their 31st overall pick, Ozzy Weisblatt. In future years, there'll be some additions on the forward standpoint, but yeah, defensively, there's some questions to be had.
Yeah. Like I said, after Marc-Andre Vlasic, I don't even know who's on their defense anymore.
Yeah. All right. So we go from the San Jose Sharks. Ted Powell actually has a very intriguing question here. And he's saying, is there any validity to a division where they throw all the Canadian teams in one division? Would they represent the West or the East?
There is a lot of validity to it. They're still trying to figure out ways to make life in the COVID world work. So they're talking about potential one-time realignments to make traveling easier. As far as the East-West, I'm not exactly sure. It might just not even be East-West for this season. It might just be the 4 divisions. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's what it sets up for. I mean, I'm looking at this one breakdown. It just has Division A, Division B, Division C, Canada Division. I mean, maybe if you wanted the East-West type of feel, you'd have Division A and B, who has mostly Eastern Coast teams there. And then you have the West, which is really represented in Division C, along with the Canadian Division. I mean, it would suck for teams like Montreal and Toronto, but not really, because I mean, when you don't have to travel to any other teams besides, in Canada, which you'd be doing anyway. So, that could be one potential setup. We're gonna see how it works out. I mean, this is going to be an ever-changing thing as this pandemic world continues.
Absolutely. And, obviously one big point is too the situation in Canada and the United States, with the pandemic. If Canada says, no, we're not having any travel between the U.S. and Canada, that's pretty much cut and dry right there. It's like, well, now you have to have a Canada division, because if you want to have this season go off, you're going to have to do that. And then that's going to run into an issue of, okay, now how are you going to have playoffs? Then that's going to have to be that bridge you got to cross after that. So, it's a number of issues that could come in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll go back to the bubble, and then so once they just have to get to the playoffs, and then they'll do a bubble that worked so well this past year. But it might be interesting though if you have like where the only divisions they're just playing each other, and then you have like some X amount of teams make each division to go to the bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it creates like a real
similar to what baseball did this year.
Exactly.
Yep, and there is still talk of potential doing bubbles again. And they're just having, like Robbie said, just the divisions in each bubble, and then figure out the playoffs as you go.
Yeah.
Who knows? Nothing's set in stone yet.
No.
So, whether or not there's actually any of these divisions realignments happen, still up in the air.
Yeah, and we'll talk about one other big factor, and we'll talk about that at the end, that could really cause some issues starting up the season. All right, then. So, moving forward on the Pacific Division breakdown, Bri, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers because they're an interesting team to me. They did wind up finishing 37-25-9, which is pretty impressive. They're an intriguing team because they have such a good offense, and they kind of the rest of the way. Defense is, I just don't understand this organization. Similar to Buffalo, there's talent. They just don't know how to win. There's talent in Edmonton. They can win. It's very lopsided ice, in my opinion. You get to the forwards. We know what the forwards are. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are leading the charge there.
Mm-hmm.
You have some physicality with guys like Zach Kassian. James Neal seems to have found his scoring touch a little bit since going over to Edmonton. But the defense is really what is kind of like, to me. So we're going to run down real quick the defensive core. I believe this is the top 7 players. Chris Russell, Darnell Nurse, Adam Larson, who they got in a trade originally sending Taylor Hall to the Devils. Ethan Bear, who's a highly touted young defenseman for them. Oscar Clefbaum, and newly acquired Tyson Barrie. So I like that they went out and got Tyson Barrie. It shores up the defense a little bit more. It's going to allow maybe Ethan Bear to spend a little bit more time developing in the AHL, should the AHL have a season. But, we know what the offense is. What's the defense? We know the offensive identity. The defense needs one. They don't have one. Goaltending is another issue that they have.
Yeah.
You had Mike Smith last year. You went out and re-signed Mike Smith for some reason. I'm not sure yet. Maybe it's the experience. Anton Forsberg showed that he could potentially be a starter in this league. Mikko Koskinen's another guy who showed he could possibly be a starter in this league. Did you go out and sign Mike Smith instead of riding with what you got? I would have, personally, I would have stuck with Forsberg and Koskinen. But who knows? Some of the key additions here, obviously you're re-signing Mike Smith. I mentioned Tyson Barrie already. Kyle Turris coming in is a guy who, after leaving Ottawa, kind of lost his touch. He was a big goal scorer in Ottawa, went to Nashville, kind of lost in the shuffle there. Hopefully he can refine it here playing on a team with a high offensive capability as the Edmonton Oilers do. Another big addition, finally getting Jesse Puljujarvi back under contract. That is huge. He was number 3 overall. I can't remember which year, but he was the number 3 overall for Edmonton. Huge offensive upside from this kid. Demanded a little too much money, a little too early, I think, which is why he spent a year playing over in Europe. So he's going to be a huge addition. Like I said, highly talented offensive team. Defense still has some questions. Darnell Nurse, I think, is a good shutdown defenseman. Has some upside. Chris Russell's a good defenseman. Tyson Barrie, another guy who has shutdown abilities with offensive upside. We saw it in Colorado, not so much in Toronto. Again, a system that may not have worked for Tyson. Maybe they just didn't utilize him right. Who knows? Hopefully Edmonton can do that. I'm a big Tyson Barrie fan. Think he's great. Has the potential to be great. I do like the experience that Adam Larson brings to this defensive core. Same with Oscar Klefblom, who's shown that he can, again, another offensive upside defenseman. Maybe that's the problem. Not enough shutdown guys, too many offensive guys on the defensive core. I mean, we'll see. I see about the same for this Edmonton Oilers team. Around about 37 to 40 wins for this club. Barring we get a full 82. Not likely, but I do like this Edmonton Oilers team. I think there's a lot of promise in this young team. They just got to figure out the defensive side, and they got to get their goaltending under control. I think their goaltending is going to be the X factor in their success once they reach the playoffs, because they will be a playoff team.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, goaltending has been a big issue for Edmonton, and it's been it's been that way since they've been doing this rebuild. I mean, it was a problem back when they drafted Taylor Hall. They didn't have a goalie back then either. And it's like, Jesus, at some point you would have figured they would have stumbled into somebody, but no, it's been a rough go of it back there in between the pipes. And defensively wise, I agree. I mean, the defense, they show okay signs, but then at times it's just like, ooh, that definitely wasn't good. It's just they need to fix that. That's their biggest problem right there, is that back end.
And I think they got the talent back there. I just think they need to figure out what their identity as a core is and kind of focus on that. Like I said, they got a lot of defensemen that have some offensive upside, but they need more stay-home, shut-down defensemen. You got that in Adam Larson, and he comes with a lot of experience. Oscar Klefblom is another guy who could be a stay-home, but again, he's another guy that has some offensive upside. Chris Russell, I love Chris Russell. He's a little up there in age, but he's a guy that can shut an offensive player down. They don't have enough of that.
Yeah, you're right. So Edmonton's going to be an interesting team. They most likely will be the playoffs, obviously, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do when they get to the playoffs. What will happen when we get there, and what will happen during the regular season in terms of how the team is gelling with the new acquisitions on the defense. All right, so one quick thing here from DB. He was talking about earlier when we were going through the whole division setup. He said, DB said, just go straight to playing games, double elimination like the Olympics. Then when 16 teams are left, start the playoffs.
I love it, actually. I love it.
Could work out with these latest CBA shenanigans. But one thing I'll say about the Oilers real quick before we move on,
Sure.
SAWFT. Soft.
He's not wrong.
No.
Outside of Zach Cassidy trying to stab somebody, what was it, 2 years ago? Oh, God, that's 2 years ago now. No, it was last year. Never mind.
No, it was last
Ignore
year.
me.
Yeah.
It seems like
What
2
do they
years
got?
ago because it happened in the studio shortly before we had the break off.
Pre-COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? That's the shame that's like the highlight of the. Well, it's not really a highlight, but that's the one thing you could pull out of the regular season besides Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. The other thing you pull out is Zach Cassidy and trying to kill somebody on the ice. It's just like Jesus. It's not a good thing to be one of your more memorable moments. Anyway. All
I'm
right.
going to say that he tried to kill him, but no, it wasn't a very good look for him. It is what it is.
For me, would be the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So this is an intriguing one to go over here for the Knights. The main question that I'm going to say is this the Knights division to lose? And
Yes.
the reason why
It
and
is.
the reason why is because when, like I said before earlier when we started this, passing glance, you would say, if you have any just even passive knowledge of the Pacific Division or of the NHL in general, one could say that the most complete team is the Golden Knights. And it's very hard to argue against it when you really look at the rosters. Obviously, the big thing that they did was they signed Robin Lehner, 5-year contract. One of the big things they did two big things. They signed Robin Lehner, 5-year contract, so they basically doubled down on Lehner. He had a very strong showing in the postseason, showing that, yeah, he could be a starter. You know, there was wondering, can he be? He proved it. He absolutely proved it. And it's going to be interesting to see what that tandem's going to be like with him and Fleury. Oh, and I hope he keeps those goalie pads because those goalie pads are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I even like Fleury's.
That's a slap in the face contract to him.
I mean, in a way, yeah, because Fleury has been the starter, and he wasn't bad as the starter at all for the Golden Knights. So
He didn't play bad and he lost his job. That's a slap in the face contract to
yeah,
Fleury.
yeah. It is weird to see that, but I think what the Golden Knights were looking at, they were looking at age, and I think that's what made them do it. Now, is that fair to do that to Fleury? No. Business logic would tell you maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to do, and you do have him to fall back on. Although if Fleury wanted to be a spiteful asshole, he could just say, you know what? Okay, you put me in there, I'm going to give up 10 goals. It's like, what do I care? I got 3 cup rings. But anyway. Let's see. So that was one of the big things they did. Other one, draft pick they had was Brendan Brisson, that they got at number 29 in the entry draft. Trading away Paul Stastny for Carl Dahlstrom, that was a big move for them, getting rid of Stastny. Him going to Winnipeg is huge for them. And it's an intriguing move for the Golden Knights to move forward. But it all makes sense when you find out what their other big move was during the offseason, and that was signing Alexander Pietrangelo to a 7-year deal after he had said he was going to contest free agency. Many people wondered where he was going to end up. He ended up in Vegas. That's where he ended up. And, boy, that's a huge, huge improvement for this team. And it really is hard to really argue against them being a complete team. Just adding Alexander Pietrangelo just adds to that, honestly. And then they did have Thomas Nosek, Thomas Jurko, and Danny O'Regan. They were all signed to 1-year deals. They traded Nate Schmidt for a 3rd-round pick. So those were some of the off-season notes there. So key players for the Golden Knights going into this year, obviously Robin Lehner, Marc-Andre Fleury as a goaltending tandem. Lehner more because of the fact that he's going to be the starter. Offense, obviously, Pietrangelo is going to be one of the big ones. Wild Bill Karlsson, definitely going to be a key there. Mark Sissot, because he can contribute. Max Pacioretty. Mark Stone. I do like Riley Smith. And obviously, Alex Tuck. You know, these are going to be key players for them moving forward in the offense. Defense-wise, you have Alec Martinez, who they got in the trade with Los Angeles. They also have Braden McNabb, and Shea Theodore. Those are three of the major defensive cogs that they have back there on that side. So, gentlemen, I got to ask, is this really the division to lose for the Golden Knights? Do they have this already down locked that we shouldn't even really be doing a preview? We already know who the winner is.
It's their division to lose. They're the best team in the division, hands down. And they got better getting Pietrangelo. It's theirs to lose, and nobody else quite is at their level yet.
Yeah, I agree. I have them taking the division. I think a team that could challenge them will be a team I believe Brian's about to talk about next in the Vancouver Canucks.
That is it?
Maybe.
Yeah. And they could. I mean, they showed a lot of promise this past season and into the 2014 tournament. They'll be minus one Tyler Toffoli's services, but I don't think they're going to really feel that loss that much. A lot of depth.
No, that's one good thing about the Vancouver Canucks too, is they got a lot of depth. But Vegas has a lot of depth too, and they went out and they signed the guy they wanted, and not so much that he didn't want to stay in St. Louis, because he did. They got, I don't even necessarily know if he's younger off the top of my head, but they went out and got Torrey Krug, who was a little bit cheaper. They wanted to give him that $6.5 million range, and Pietrangelo wanted more, and Vegas gave it to him.
Yeah. Vegas cleared space to do it. It was and it was a smart move, really, when you think about it. It brings a whole hell of a lot of leadership to the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will say, I think it brings a sense of maturity too, because one thing that I will say that the Golden Knights do need is a little bit more maturity, because one of the things that I didn't like was the Knights talked a whole bunch of shit and they got their asses stomped in the Western Conference Finals. Like, get humbled. You need to calm the fuck down. It's like, you didn't win shit. Yes, you won the division for a second time. Yes, you got to the Western Conference Finals. You got beat by Dallas.
And not only did you get beaten, humbled, but unlike Brian, who was saying slap in the face of Fleury, they got dick smacked in that Western Conference Finals. A series they should have won.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. And, you add Pietrangelo, that's your fourth captain.
Yeah.
Fourth former captain on that roster. And Pietrangelo is not the type. He's going to keep guys in line. He's going to keep them in check. Because he's not afraid to speak his mind when he needs to in the locker room. And that's kind of what makes him such a big acquisition, is not just his play on the ice, but it's his ability to be the leader off the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other key player, White Cloud, another player that I actually like his game, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. So I like his play that he showed in the defensive side of the floor. So lots of great players on this Vegas team. Shame I don't like their retro jersey. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward in the division, because right now Vegas is the most complete team. They may very well win the Cup this year. The possibility has just gone up even more with the acquisition of Pietrangelo. The probability increases ever higher. So, on to our final team of our Pacific Division breakdown. And, sorry, Rob, we'll have to skip you. And go to Mr. Darkwing, Brian Daly, who has that team, and that is the young, up-and-coming Vancouver Canucks.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're up and coming. I think they're here.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Correct.
36, 27, and 6 last year before, shocking a couple teams and getting to, I believe, the second round before being eliminated in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm very high on this team. I was high on them last year. I thought they could compete for a division. I still think they can. I think they're probably the only other team in the Pacific Division that can challenge Vegas. Some key additions for them. Obviously, the loss of Jacob Markstrom was huge. But, gaining Braden Holtby, that's not a bad substitution there, right?
No, not at all. Only won a cup.
I was about to say, he brings playoff experience. plenty of it. He's a Stanley Cup winner. I want to say Conn Smythe, but I don't think he won Conn Smythe that year.
No, I don't think he did. I think Ovechkin won the Conn Smythe that year. But he does
Probably.
have Vezinas, so
And then, that guy you were talking about who was traded for a third-round pick, Nate Schmidt,
yeah.
he wound up in Vancouver. So that's huge for them. Something that lacked for them last year was some leadership on the back end, and you bring in a guy like Nate Schmidt, you got it covered there. Big asset in Washington before going to Vegas. So he was a huge asset there as well, and I know he's going to take Quinn Hughes under his wing, and he's going to run with him. And Quinn Hughes has already he had an outstanding rookie year, being a Calder, I believe he was a Calder finalist. I don't think he won. I believe he was a finalist, though. I can't remember who won the Calder, if they even announced it yet. So the things you got to remember about the Vancouver Canucks is they're still a relatively young team. They need to rely on more of the veteran leadership that they have there, especially come playoff time. Some of these younger guys can get a little antsy. So you need to rely on guys like JT Miller, who's been there, Louis Eriksson, who's been there. Just to name a couple guys off the top of my head, to Alex Edler, another guy, to keep these guys, it's the playoffs. It's another game. Just another game. So you got to rely heavily on that.
Quick question about Edler. Is he the longest standing Canuck at this point? He's been with them for a long time.
He has been. I don't know. I can't answer that for you.
I'll look that up.
Yeah. I know Louis Eriksson's been there a long time. Sounds weird to say.
Right. Yeah.
He was a big get for them.
Oh, yeah. At the time, he was a great get, but hasn't done much. But they got to rely on the veteran leadership and veteran experience to keep these young guys calm, cool, and collected, and show them how to keep that anxiety down come playoff time. Young stars like Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, just to name a couple. These guys really need to continue to take that next step, develop a little bit more. We already know they can play at the level. See if they can take that next step and not just be stars, but take that next level and be superstars. Bo Horvat is another guy you need to see take that. I don't want to necessarily say take that next step, but continue to be the leader that he was last year after being named the organization's captain. I believe he's the 16th captain in the organization. But, if they want to get deeper into the playoffs, they need these guys to really step up and kind of take the reins here because they are the future. You're building the organization around them. So, these guys really need to up their game come playoff time. We talked about this already, but adding Holtby, you bring in a goaltender who has more playoff experience than Markstrom. He's got a Stanley Cup ring. Markstrom doesn't, so it's kind of addition by subtraction. You're not paying him as much as Markstrom wanted. You're only having for 2 years, which, it is definitely addition by subtraction in some ways. I think Markstrom had the better year than Holtby. I think Holtby's kind of taken a couple steps back, but I think he changed the scenery. Is going to do him good. Playing, in my opinion, with a better defense in front of him in Vancouver. It's just I think
they got him at a value though, didn't they? Would you say?
Yeah, I think he's 2 years. Can't remember off the top of my head. I know it's a 2-year deal. I want to say somewhere maybe around around 6. I don't know. I should just look it up, but
I got it. No, I'm on it for you, babe. I'm on it for you. 2-year.
Markstrom got 6.
Oh yeah, 2-year, 8.6 mil.
Oh, okay. So they got him for $2 million less than Markstrom. Markstrom
Right.
got, believe 6 to 6.5.
Right.
So yeah, they got him a little bit cheaper. Got him for 2 years, but he's bringing a whole lot of experience with him. So it's definitely addition by subtraction. Losing Markstrom, it's going to be a problem in the long run. 'Cause who's next in line? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Crickets.
I mean, they may have picked a goalie up in the draft in the last couple of years that's next in line, but as far as I know, they don't really have that next potential starter yet.
Yeah. There was hope for Thatcher Demko, but that faded away.
I mean, Demko could still be that guy, but he's not going to be the guy to really take the reins and run with this team. He's more that guy that's going to just they'll compete, but they're not going to be contenders.
Yeah, I got you.
So, I mean, I believe Demko is still relatively young. So, I mean, anything could still happen with him.
Still one of the coolest names in hockey, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bringing in Nate Schmidt, and I talked about this briefly already. He brings experience. He brings a little bit of physicality, and he brings some skill to the position. You're going to have another guy to worry about on the power play instead of just worrying about Quinn Hughes. So it's a huge trade. It's a big trade, and it's going to really help Vancouver take that next step to being, I think, maybe not a division winner, but they are definitely going to finish in a division spot for sure. Again, I'm very high on the Vancouver Canucks. I think they could potentially be a contender with where they are now. So I could see them definitely making a deep run in the playoffs.
Inversely, boys, Alex Edler, drafted 91st overall in the 2004 entry-level draft, is the longest tenured player on the Canucks. Love it. And what's funny is he's only 34, though.
Huh.
I mean, he's not as old as you would think for having that mark and being drafted, in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I remember him being on a pairing with Kevin Bieksa, and that was not a pairing you really wanted to go up against. They were very good together. It was very yin and yang. Alex Edler has that offensive upside. Kevin Bieksa was that stay home, shut down, I'm going to put my fist in your face type defenseman. It was great.
Was back when
it was great to have him in Anaheim.
That was back when Vancouver was, winning President's trophies and shit, and we were like, boy, this team, it definitely is going to win a Stanley Cup, and it got very, very close. Very, very close.
Yeah, 2011 was their best year. Unfortunately, they fell short, but I could definitely see them getting back to the Stanley Cup Finals in the next 2 years. They're a very good young team. I'm very high on this club.
You should be, man. I mean, they were exciting to watch over this past postseason. They upset the Blues in the first round. They beat Minnesota in the qualifier. They tapped out in the semis, but still, man, that's a lot for a young team who has never had a presence in the playoffs prior to this. For them to do what they did, that's huge. That's a huge step forward.
Absolutely, and the young players that they're getting are coming in immediately and having impacts. Great drafting on the front office's part. So,
Absolutely.
Kudos to this organization. They weren't down for long.
No, they weren't. It was only 5 years? I think it was only that.
If that.
Yeah, it was not long at all. But yeah, so that's our Pacific Division preview. From what we have surmised, it is Vegas's division to lose. However, there is one team that could be a feisty team that may shock us, and that being the Vancouver Canucks. Will they shock the world and take a Pacific Division title that should be Vegas's? Or will Edmonton get their shit together? That's those are the three intriguing teams I think we could all agree on, that those will probably be the three top teams in this division currently right now.
I don't know. With Markstrom, I think it could wind up being Calgary over Edmonton.
Okay. We can throw Calgary definitely in their mix. So there's 4 right there for the Pacific Division. The rest, either rebuilding or in a spot where we just don't know yet where they're going to go. So with that is the Pacific Division. And now, to finish off the show, one last topic to go through, and that is the collective bargaining situation. So we talked about and hinted at this all show long about the issue that could be delaying the season from getting started. By all accounts, Gary Bettman is still doggedly determined to try and get something started by either the 1st of January or around January 1st. However, the situation that happened was the owners, after signing a CBA just 4 months ago to get the playoffs rolling in the bubbles, decided they wanted to change something. The players are shocked by this, and we're not thrilled by it either. Basically,
Nor should they be.
And the reason for this is because the NHL owners, knowing that they're going to take a hit, which they are going to take a hit. We all know this because we're not going to have your standard prototypical NHL season. Because they know they're going to take a hit, they presented an idea. They said have deferred compensation that would either go up to about 20% for this season and add escrow to about 25%. Now, like dumbasses like myself, I had to look at what deferred compensation meant. And what that meant is it'll be paid at a later date. So basically what they're trying to do is they are trying to skid out of paying a little bit more of the salary than they wanted, basically. The owners realized that they have to pay this much, and they didn't like it. And so they're trying to change the agreement now so that they don't have to pay that come by the end of this season. Which also, just to give anybody an idea, escrow was capped at about 10% for the 2022-23 season. And then through 25-26 season, it'll be at 6% that it'll be capped at. The players basically agreed also that originally 4 months ago that 10% of their pay would be given to them in 3 installments over the 2022 through 2025 fiscal years. So they agreed to that term. Now all of a sudden it's changing to be basically more that they wouldn't be getting paid. Players weren't happy with this, and they rejected it immediately. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this could really start to haunt us and may delay the season?
We got a month and a half. I think they'll figure it out. I'm not going to be worried about it yet. Like I said, there's still a lot of time. So, you know, my buddy Jamie, who runs Flyers Nitty Gritty, said it perfectly. Yeah, the clock's ticking, but I think they'll figure it out. I'm not too worried yet. When we get closer to training camp and nothing's done, and there's still reports out of the season being in jeopardy, I'll start to worry a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's shiesty dealings. It's shiesty business. It's like, okay, you provided a service and we agreed to pay you upon said service. But after we crunch the numbers, we're going to have to, hold out on some of that money. It's kind of like when Michael Scott at the office at the Scranton Paper Company of Dunder Mifflin, the Michael Scott Paper Company, where he undercut Dunder Mifflin, but then had to call him back and be like, yeah, you remember that paper I delivered you? Yeah, we're going to have to ask for another check. Just reverse, in terms of where the money's coming from and who's doing the asking. But if you stuck with me through that analogy, you'll know that this isn't fair trade, and I hope it doesn't snowball. I do hope that it comes to a peaceful resolution. Based on what you boys had to say, it sounds like that's possible. Because when I first heard about this, my dad actually let me know about this earlier today. He's getting really good at keeping up with the notifications, man. 70 years old. Gotta love him.
Love it.
Yeah, he informed me. I'm like, I had no idea. I had to go look it up and stuff. But my ultimate point is that what I read, and also with, the state of the world and how difficult it will be to restart, the new season, man, wouldn't it be just so 2020 to have an NHL strike?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but here's the thing that Maddie brought up that I think is kind of good. They're not necessarily going to lose the money. It's going into escrow, so they're eventually going to get it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not the savvy financial, but it's just they're going to get it at, like Maddie said, at a later date. So I think that's going to be more of a selling point, saying, hey, yeah, we're going to take a little bit of money, but you are going to get your money. You're just not going to get it yet. We will definitely – it's just going to go to escrow. You're going to get it. But just right now we need to try and save some money. We're going to take a hit. It's a tough situation for the players and the ownership and the fan base and the world right now. Like, everyone is trying to do their best to just keep things going and keep things as normal as possible.
You're gonna get it. You just ain't gonna get it right now as we rob from Peter to pay Paul. I got you.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
So
It's shady. That's all I know. It's kind of shady. I don't like it. But it is what it is.
It's intriguing. It's a very stunning development. And if you think we're shocked, just imagine the players. They probably got that like, what the fuck did they want? Like, we just signed an agreement 4 months ago, and now they want to change shit. Fuck you. That's basically what the response was. But anyway, so hopefully it doesn't cause any issues with the season getting started. Gary Bettman still stated January 1st or around January 1st, so he hasn't changed that at all. So like we said, Brian, you put it in perfect terms. Like, if it starts to affect training camps getting started, that's when it's time to worry. But other than that, that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank everybody for joining us. And, before we sign off, I just want to take a minute. And, this is the time of the year where you kind of reflect a little bit on the year you had. Sometimes you give thanks because Thanksgiving is coming up, which there will be no show next Thursday. So happy Thanksgiving to you all for next week, since we won't be here. But during that time, we give thanks during that day besides eat. And one of the things I do want to say I'm thankful for is each and every one of you guys out there in the fam, not just the regulars, but the people who are watching, who don't comment in, but they just watch. Hey, man, we don't care. We welcome you all the same, and I really mean that. Thank you so much, because I look back on when we started and we would get like a handful of views and we'd be popping off a cork of champagne. It's just, it feels great to know that you guys love the show. You tune in every week. You comment in when you can. And we appreciate that. And we appreciate you guys when you buy the merchandise, not just for us, but for anybody here at the station, because that supports us and it keeps us going. And you guys are the reason why we're here. So thank you. I just wanted to give thanks to you guys for that reason. We really appreciate that. I'm very thankful for you guys. Well
said, Maddie.
Thank you, Rob. And I'm just gonna throw that out there for everybody there. And guys, if you guys want to give thanks to anything, feel free to right now before we close this bad boy out.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Okay, Brian.
I give thanks for a healthy family.
Yeah.
Everybody's staying good, staying safe, staying smart, staying vigilant, and we're not crumbling to the coronavirus fatigue. So I'm thankful for the God giving me that energy to do so, and it just really transforms right to my message to the fam out there. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, be safe. We're doing my family. We're having virtual Zoom. They're going to be like 3 or 4 different households, and we're going to all be on Zoom, for a good chunk of our dinner, so to speak. It's definitely way to go. But whatever your choice, just be safe, be smart.
Absolutely. And if you do want to continue supporting A2DRadio.com, there is a way to do that. Bri, where can they go to do it?
Head over to PhillyDrinkers.com, Philly Drinkers LLC. Get all your ATD merch there. Whatever you're looking for, they got. Fall line's out now, so check out what they got. Philly Drinkers LLC. Head over to PhillyDrinkers.com. Get your ATD merch there.
All right, then. So, and we are brought to you by Ambuck Services. If you want to get anything done now, the winter has come. It's pretty cold outside, so I don't know if it would be a good time to do it now. But it's never a bad idea to plan for spring. And when that rolls around, you're going to want to call Ambuck Services to take care of the gutters, take care of your deck, get the bushes trimmed. All you got to do is take out your lawnmower and mow. That's all you got to do. They're the guys to go to for all of that. And you can call them at 856-879-5530. Make everything look pretty on your front and back lawn and your deck. Ambuck Services, they'll do it for you. All right, so we thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. As always, stay safe, stay healthy out there. Wear your mask when you go out, especially when you go into a store and a restaurant. Do not be that person. And we will see you guys not next week, but the week after that. So happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you all then. Peace, everyone.